They hate when you elevate. They stacking up losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. I'm way too fly, yeah, I'm feeling myself. Ain't no chance I'm coming down, no. Got a soul view to myself, yeah. Why would I give it up? Why do they wanna come take my place? I work too hard for it, don't need a replacement. This my vocation, now I got rollies all in rotation. Hop on a jet just to take a vacation. Remember the moments was trapped in the basement. Now the hard work is all taking me places. Swatting all black like we trapped in the matrix. Bet on myself and go ball out in Vegas. Living a life like I'm rich and I'm famous. Don't see the grind that I know that it came with. I ain't make it this far for myself, yeah. I had to prove to everybody else, I had to set them straight, yeah. I had to ball, so I had to renovate, I know. They hate when you elevate. They stacking up losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate. Ooh, yeah, why they wanna bring me down? So much drip, yeah, I almost drowned in it. I can't come it down, yeah, I'm way too fired up. I can't slow it down. Ooh, yeah, yeah. I see the flashing lights, make sure the fashion right, yeah. I'm in my bag tonight, yeah. Ooh, I might just pull up before it. Watch out, the engine is roaring. It's too loud, you can ignore it. Yeah, yeah. This that high life with a few. You get to have it all, no need to choose. First, let me demonstrate how you can rise to the top. Yeah, I had to elevate, 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 elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate.
Yeah. What's good? Salute to everybody in the building. I know how it is. Yeah, man. Fly Frequency. Salute to Fly Frequency, AK Crowder in the building. Salute to all you guys. I know we creeping in, man. It takes some time. We're going to creep in. Salute to everybody, man. Salute to everybody, bro. Yeah, man. Everybody talking about it, huh? I'm in the building. Salute Chris Brooks, man. Salute. Yeah, man, look, the drama, it's out and about, man. Everybody talking about this situation. I don't know how much attention we need to give it, though, guys. I mean, is it that serious, man? That we talking about people's love lives and stuff for that matter? But, you know, I guess when boxing is just boxing, we get a little bored. And I guess, you know, listen, man, I guess Clarissa Shields is, you know, pound for pound, two-time undisputed, you know, multiple weight division champion. So she's got something going on. Maybe we might talk about it. I don't know, man. At the end of the day, it looks like Clarissa messing around with Papoose potentially, and I guess Remy's in her feelings about it. What do I care? I don't know, man. I mean, I agree. Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. I mean, at the end of the day, I would think the most important thing to understand for Remy is we can move forward, right? We can move forward and leave this alone. She don't want no smoke with T-Rex. It is what it is. I'm not tripping off of that. You know what I am interested in, though, and things I've been speaking about as far as this Keyshawn Davis situation has been coming together. You know what I mean? I don't know. The internet is buzzing, right? Supposedly Keyshawn Davis team may be in negotiations with Tank Davis, and maybe that's who Tank is calling out on March 1st, right? Maybe that's who he's calling out. I got no problem with that. You know, I don't know. You know, I wasn't telling other people who don't even know who the GOAT is. Yeah, okay, for sure, Flyer Frequency, for sure. You know what I mean? But look, man, great fights. You know what I mean? Let's make the big fights, right? Let's make the best fights possible. You know, Tank is a strategist when it comes to putting these situations together. You know, getting under Shakur Stevens' skin a little bit. Maybe put Keyshawn on. Don't fight Shakur. I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe the 10,000 seats getting sold in Virginia made the difference. Who knows what it is? We don't even know if the negotiations is really happening. But this is the rumors out in the streets. that, Keyshawn Davis may have finally got Tank Davis's attention, right? He may have gotten his attention. We'll talk about that. And then Jaron Ennis continues to, look, man, guys, we got to start overstanding Jaron Ennis, right? We got to stop doing this, man. We got to stop doing this. The media has to stop doing this, right? The media has to stop putting Jaron Ennis in these situations, right? I mean, come on, man. We know better now. At this point, we know better. We know that Teofimo fight doesn't happen unless Jaron Ennis pulls the trigger on it. And we know Jaron Ennis has priorities. We got to talk about that today, man. We got to stop doing this to Jaron, man. Jaron does not deserve this pushback he's getting at this point. We are ridiculous, right? Rumor comes out, you know what I mean? Teofimo says he's sending out the offer. He's got the lawyers in connection. Negotiations are happening in the background. These are all rumors, right? But ultimately, we also know that Jaron Ennis, at this point, we have to understand Jaron Ennis is focused on what he's focused on, which is becoming a unified champion. And that's what's going to take priority over everything. And we'll talk about it, right? Because I'm sure the space is just losing their mind right now. Teofimo may be, salute Coda in the building, salute Coda. Yeah, we've got to stop doing this. We got to stop doing this at this point. I mean, it's just like we're not learning. We're either not learning or we're just trying to will things into fruition, which is cool. Sometimes in life you got to will things into fruition, right? Things can get complicated in life, and sometimes you just need one reason to make it happen. It could be 1,000 reasons that it won't happen, but you need to find one reason for it to happen, right? So I mean, I guess we could will it, but we also have to stop being so we got to stop putting Jaron in that situation where we're holding him to these standards that he's not holding himself to, and we're not respecting him for holding himself to the standards he's holding himself to, which in its own right is honorable if we just take the time to take that into consideration, right? So salute to everybody in the building. I know we creeping in with, there must be another live popping, boy. There must be another live popping, but we're going to build regardless. The playback will be official, right? And of course, we got Keyshawn, we got Jaron, and we need to figure out what Terrence is going to do, and also what is Teofimo going to do. If this situation is not going to come together for Teofimo, if this is not going to happen, is Jaron Ennis situation, is Teofimo back at square one? Is he back to his antics, calling people out, saying, getting caught up in the most controversial conversations, or is he really motivated to make a fight happen this coming year in the first quarter? And if he is motivated to do that, what are the options? I think clearly he has a lot of options, right? But what is he more than likely to do? Because he has options. He's Teofimo. He's a lineal champion. He's quite possibly the best 140-pound fighter in the division, right? So he has options. But the question is, what's going to motivate Teofimo? What's going to get him up? Pause. What's going to give him the motivation to prepare and to be the best version of himself in that ring? Because it does seem like he's not going to pull the trigger unless it's the right fight, right? Unless it's the right fight, he's not going to pull the trigger. So we could talk about that as well. Teal should go up and fight Brian Norman Jr. then. Look, RC, we could talk about it, but let's be honest. Brian Norman Jr. is dead caught in the middle of a division right now where Jaron Ennis is unification seems to be the biggest priority for a champion in that division. And I don't see why fighting Teofimo Lopez, I don't know. We'll talk about it though, man. Brian Norman Jr. is definitely on the table. He's a WBO champion. Teofimo, WBO champion. You know how that sanctioning body works. Teofimo can go up there and probably challenge for that title. But like I said, a lot of unification talk going on at 147. We'll see where that lays at. I don't know, man. I don't know. Good morning, Mr. Big Plate Bray in the building. Salute. I think he's in the loss part, the last part of his contract. And capping its way out of it, denying fights. Yeah. And also that whole situation, right? How's his relationship with Top Rank going to manifest? What is Bob Arum, and Teofimo Lopez's relationship looking like? To be honest with you, the interview he had this past weekend at the Top Rank event kind of led me to, I felt like I was hearing a goodbye message to a degree, just basically thanking everybody at Top Rank and basically just assuring everybody it wasn't a waste of his time and that he learned a lot. But it did sound like a farewell kind of conversation as to, maybe these guys may be going their separate ways. And obviously we know Top Rank is also questioning, trying to find a new network to perform on, and their relationship with ESPN seems to be fizzling away or at the end of the road for them. So, timing is everything, right? Timing is everything. So we'll talk about all that as well. Brian Norman is the fight for sure. Fine Frequency says, all right, well, Big Sarge says it's interesting that you say that T.O. picks opponents who motivate him, but he picks Steve Claggett. Well, exactly, Big Sarge. I'm not saying I'm not saying past tense that he picks opponents that motivate him. I'm saying going forward, Teofimo's made it clear that if it's not the right matchup, he's not interested in making that fight, right? I'm talking about in the future, Big Sarge. I'm talking about for him to make this next fight. It seems like if it's not the right fight, it seems like he's done with the Steve Claggett's, right? Like he doesn't want to do that anymore. He doesn't want to do fights that don't add to his legacy. He wants to show the world who he is right now. He believes this is his time, but he also seems to understand that the only way that can happen is with the right fights, which is why he's calling out the Terrence Crawfords. He tried to call out, Jaron Buchanan or Brian Norman. He's trying to overstand his own situation and make the moves he thinks he needs to make in order to get the status that he feels like he deserves at this point, right? So we'll talk about all that and all the other boxing talk, man. But Keyshawn Davis, crazy like a fox, ain't he? I'm telling you guys, that people when you think about Keyshawn Davis earlier this year and him calling out Tank Davis and saying how he felt about his status was in the division, people were throwing so many shots at that kid, man. Knocking him, stay in your lane. He hasn't done nothing to earn this. They're stacking up all the opinion, right? All the perspective on how a prospect should be carrying themselves and how they should be talking and who they should be eligible to fight and where their focus should be on. And who would have known that by the end of 2024, Keyshawn Davis would be on the verge of getting himself his first title in that division, and that the fighter who everybody thought he would never get in the ring with is actually considering giving him an opportunity to make this fight happen. Crazy like a fox is an understatement, right? Crazy like a fox is an understatement. I called it and I tried to tell you guys. I said it on Blue Blood, and listen, I don't want to even take props for it yet because we don't even know if it's actually in real time happening, right? We don't even know if in real time this is really actually happening. But, content creators are starting to cover it. They're feeling like rumors are, they're taking this interview that Keyshawn did at Top Rank, and they're taking it as Keyshawn's team is in conversations with Tank's team. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I have some inside information. I do. I have inside sources of information that speak to me about things. And I'm not going to lie to you. There's a good possibility that that's actually happening in real time. That's actually a real possibility. Conversations are happening. But look, hey, let's be honest here. Conversations were happening with Shakur. Conversations were happening with Rayo. Conversations was happening with De Los Santos, right? Conversations have happened and been happening, even with Lomachenko, right? Conversations have been happening when the conversation is about Gervonta Tank Davis and who he's going to fight and these big fights happening. But what's not happened is actual offers coming across the table. So we got to take this with a grain of salt. I'm not jumping the gun anymore. I'm overstanding this whole entire boxing situation. I'm being honest with you. I'm overstanding the whole entire situation, and I'm not getting my hopes up like that. But I do think it's interesting that the boxing space, as far as content creation platforms across the board, are now speaking about this and embracing this idea of Keyshawn Davis being a legitimate fight that Tank Davis would entertain, right? When everybody was pushing back at the idea, crazy, like, Keyshawn, please, that'll never happen. Well, things change, right? Things change. What does it say here? Mr. Big Play says T.O. and Devin both need each other. They help each other. It would be a great build-up and a good fight. I agree, Mr. Big Play. I agree. I think Teofimo and Devin would be a great fight. Something for him to consider. You know what I mean? For sure. Mac Majestic says Keyshawn called him out, and Tank made it a point to say that Keyshawn is better than Shakur. Yeah, he did. But Tank is he's an interesting person because we hold him to the high standard, obviously, and when we don't see him in the fights we don't want to. When we don't see him in the fights that we want to see him in. We hold him accountable, right? We hold him to boss status, face of boxing status, A-side status. We hold him there. So when things aren't happening the way we think Tank Davis's career should be moving, we hold Tank Davis accountable. And the fan bases, what do? Right? They throw shots at us. They say we hating on them. We're being unfair. And then they compare a whole bunch of B-side fighters and ask why we don't treat these B-side fighters the way we treat Tank Davis, right? And then you try to explain to them 150 different ways. It doesn't matter. They see it the way they see it. But one thing about Tank, And Tank has positive attributes, right? One of the big positive attributes that I always find in Tank is that he doesn't really, he speaks pretty honestly about how he feels. When he's talking, he's being very honest about how he feels, right? He'll tell you if he's happy, if he's sad, if he's mad, if he's annoyed, if he's frustrated, he'll let you know. And I think him saying what he said specifically about Keyshawn Davis doing better than Shakur Stevenson, I think he was being honest, right? And I don't think it had anything to do with accolades, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think that's what it was all about. But it was more so about Tank is more concerned about the dancing partner. He wants to be part of exciting fights. Tank is not focused on being part of historical fights so much, right? He'll make a stylistically favorable fight, a historical fight. He feels like an exciting fight is a historical fight. A fight of the year candidate fight is a historical fight, right? This is what he believes. And he wants to be in fights where the crowd is going crazy, where he gets to do amazing things in the crowd. And let's be honest, Shakur Stevenson hasn't been checking those boxes lately. He just hasn't been. We know that his IQ and his pedigree is where it's at, but as far as the performance, as far as the crowd reaction, people walking out of his fights, things of that nature, throwing the lowest punches in box rec history, or however, whatever the boxing tally system, whatever that is, history. These things move him not at all, right? He doesn't want to be part of any situation that could be like that. And Shakur Stevenson happens to be good enough to make the fight boring. A lot of people predict that the fight would be boring. And if the fight is boring, you'd have to be leaning towards to Shakur Stevenson to win in that fight, because, Tank Davis isn't going to try to make the fight boring. So if the fight is boring, you'd have to assume it's because Shakur Stevenson was able to dictate that it'd be boring. And that within itself may add up to a loss for Gervonta Tank Davis. So he's probably not interested in fighting Shakur Stevenson, but he's interested in being part of some exciting fights. And like I told you guys, what's a more exciting fight than right now at 135 right now than Keyshawn Davis and Gervonta Tank Davis? Keyshawn is a showman in every definition of the word, right? In every bit of the definition of the word, Keyshawn is a showman. And obviously Gervonta Tank Davis, we don't need to even say anything about it. So it is what it is. Salute Crypto Chris in the building. Salute Crypto Chris in the building, man. What's good? Might be the one to take less money to fight Tank because he believes if he wins, he'll become the man. 100%. I agree with you, Mr. Big Play Bray. That's another element of this whole entire situation. Why would Keyshawn Davis be a primary candidate for Tank Davis? Well, he's obviously on a trajectory, right? He's moving in the right direction, but he's also so hungry. Keyshawn is so hungry, he's not gonna make the money a big deal. He's not gonna let the money stop him from getting this fight. If you guys remember how Keyshawn was when he wanted to fight Teofimo Lopez, how motivated he was when he told Teofimo, I'll go to 140, I'll fight in Honduras, whatever you send over, I won't make a counter offer, I'll take whatever money you offer me. When he gets focused, he's a young dude who understands his future, and he's factoring in making those sacrifices in order to make his future that much more secure. So the pay that Keyshawn Davis is probably asking for, probably not that much, right? They're probably going to be able to give him something very similar to what they gave to Lamont Roach. God forbid, maybe even less, right? I'd hope not less, though. But he'll definitely check the boxes there. He's not going to need multiple millions of dollars guaranteed to him in order to make this fight happen. He's going to deliver an exciting fight as well. Keyshawn is prime real estate right now for a big fight with Tank Davis right now. And it's going to be interesting because, like I told you guys, March 1st is coming around the corner. It's not that far away. I know 3 months seems like a long distance, or 3.5 months, whatever it is, but it really isn't. It'll go just like that. We'll be here on March 1st. And if anybody's watching that event, I got to say that, and I'd have to think that most people are thinking about the announcement, right? Like, yeah, we want to see Lamont Roach fight, and we're going to watch a great undercard as well on that card. Really decent undercard on there. But that announcement is definitely going to be anticipated. I would think if he doesn't make an announcement at the end of that fight, that'll be another check against Gervonta Tank Davis. Hunter Young says Tank is right. No one really remembers what belt Duran versus Sugar, Pryor versus Michaela, Hearns versus Hagler, Roy versus Tarver. No one cares about the belts they fought for. It was or if it was for a belt on the line. Yeah, I agree. You know what I mean? The belts are important to me. I'm not going to discredit the belts, but I understand where you're going with it, right? It's not about the championships as much as it is about the fights, the talent, the generational talent fighting each other, With Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Tank Davis fighting, this is not about belts. This is about the talent that Shakur Stevenson is, the generational talent that he is and that Tank is, and seeing them fight each other. Having belts is definitely a plus. It helps when you're talking about the Hall of Fame and things of that nature. This helps as well, right? But it's not all about the belts. In other words, Gervonta Tank Davis fighting Dennis Barincek isn't something like historical, right? It puts him on the path to becoming a unified champion and helps pad up his profile when it comes time to go into the Hall of Fame. But at the end of the day, the fight is what makes a difference. I agree with you, Hunter Young. I definitely agree with you. Green Villain says Davis versus Davis will only be good until Tank knock him out. Then everybody will say Keyshawn wasn't ready. Fans will say that. Green Villain. Fans will say that. But a lot of people won't. If the fight delivers, if it's an entertaining fight, if Keyshawn is a great dance partner, they'll give that fight the credit it deserves. I think real people will give that fight the credit it deserves. Salute YG Knight in the building. Salute. Let's see here. I think I get a fire stick because this fight isn't worth $80. Hey, man, I ain't mad at you, brother. I ain't mad at you, man. David versus Roach should be $50. Yeah, you definitely should be down there in that range for sure. You know, I've gotten to the point when it comes, guys, I've gotten to the point when it comes down to this Gervonta Tank Davis Lamont Roach fight to where it's not about criticizing the fight anymore. I was more into criticizing it when the fight was being made, hoping that maybe the criticism and the pushback from the fan base might steer it in a different direction. But at this point, it's contracted out, man. It is what it is. These guys are meeting March 1st. I'm going to hope and pray that Lamont Roach delivers to be a great dancing partner, that he shows improve. I hope they both, I hope the fight shows improve to be a better fight than what we thought it was going to be, and that, we can be proven wrong. And see, I'm here to be proven wrong. I'm okay with it. Prove me wrong. Give me an exciting fight. Make it super competitive. Make me believe Lamont Roach can win. I'm all for it. I'm down to watch it. Let's make it happen. Ross Scott in the building. Salute. Keyshawn Davis crazy like a fox, man. I told you guys. And like I said, I told you guys the other day, and I said it on Blue Blood as well, right? I said, even if Tank doesn't make this fight happen, because people were saying, well, Tank won't make the fight happen. It doesn't really matter because Keyshawn Davis's trajectory and how an exciting of a fighter he's becoming, what's happening is the space is going to put pressure on Tank. And when you see content creation spaces that are quote unquote Gervonta Tank Davis fan bases start to bring this up as rumors and they're getting excited about it and they're talking about it, what they're letting you guys know is that they want to see this fight. So Keyshawn has to do his job in 2025. The job is not done yet. And the beginning step is obviously this fight he's got coming up in February with Dennis Barincek. He's got to do his job, win in a dominating way, but most importantly, win. If it's not dominating, but winning is most important. Walk away with that WBO championship so that he can make his own announcement. He can call Tank out in February, and then we'll see if Keyshawn shows up March 1st to the event, ready to steer up the social media space, the algorithm. Lamont Roscott says Lamont there for the check. You can tell how eager he was, yelling, "Don't forget the rematch." Ninja, no, he losing. Hey, man. Roscott, when he's screaming about the rematch, he's talking about the rematch clause. He doesn't have a rematch clause to fight Tank Davis. Tank Davis has a rematch clause to fight Lamont Roach if Lamont Roach wins the fight. So when he's talking about that rematch clause, he's talking about fighting Tank again because he beats Tank. I'm going to be real with you guys. I think Lamont Roach is confident. I think he's confident. He thinks he can do something in his fight, man, as he should. We shouldn't be shocked if he feels that way. That's what he's supposed to feel. He's a fighter, man. These guys ain't training in the gym for as long as they've been training since they were young to sit here and believe that they can't compete at the highest level. This is a big test, a huge test for Lamont Roach. The odds are against him, but look, it's also stages the perfect setting for the biggest story that was never told, right? Lamont Roach being this talent that was hidden and nobody really knew about him, and he was hiding in a 130-pound division, and ran into some adversity with Jamel Herring and lost that fight, but made a comeback and became a champion at 130 pounds, and then was called out by the face of boxing at 135 pounds, et cetera, to shock the world, blah, 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 blah. You know how that goes. It's a setting for a great story, right? So, I got to think Lamont Roach is going into this situation confident. I believe it. I believe he thinks he can deal with Gervonta. They do have that history. I don't know how much that history holds any weight on what this fight looks like. The pro game isn't the amateur game, but we've seen what happened with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, right? Outside of the Austrian, of course, right? Their relationship in the amateurs seems to have translated into, something a lot of people who saw them in the amateurs predicted was going to happen in that fight. I didn't see that. I didn't predict that. I thought Devin was going to win that fight, but here we are today, right? Here we are today. Let's see here. 31 people in the chat. I do not know how the likes are looking, but let's get the likes up, man. Let's get the likes up, man. Let's build today. Let's get the likes up. So, but Keyshawn Davis has options. Obviously, if Tank Davis isn't going to be the direction that if Tank Davis decides not to go in that direction, Keyshawn still has a great 2025 set up for him. Top Rank, Bob Arum seemed like they got a lot of plans for him. This is potentially Top Rank's last year on ESPN. So they're going to make this year a great year. I'm expecting Top Rank to have one of the best years they've had in the longest time. Let's be honest, they're probably campaigning and advertising, marketing themselves as a legitimate asset to one of these networks, whether it be Netflix, whether it be DAZN, whether it be Amazon, whatever these networks are. They're going to be campaigning and trying to market themselves as a legitimate boxing asset to have on board. So let's see what Top Rank got planned for the year. But it looks like Keyshawn has a good chance of moving needle. Salute the Freedom March in the really good. Salute to Blade Brown in the building. What do you say? Nah, Lamont for the game for sure. Yeah, Blade, right? You know what I mean? Look, the fight's happening whether we want it to happen, whether we don't want it to happen. So if we're going to speak on this fight, let's speak on this fight in the most competitive way. Let's give Lamont Roach his best shot at doing something spectacular. We don't know what Tank Davis is showing up. There's so many rumors going on right now, so many boxes that haven't been checked. We don't know what the relationship between Tank and Leonard Ellerbe is right now, between Tank and the PBC, between Tank and Calvin Ford. We saw him up there on the stage by himself. Rumors are rumors. We can speculate all day long, but there's so many different things moving. Lamont Roach communicated that day at the press conference that he heard that Tank has been focused on boxing. So what has Tank been focused on, right? There's a presumption of some frustration over there in that camp, right? There's a presumption of some frustration and things are out of whack. The algorithm is saying that, is letting us know that Tank is not, everybody's not on the same page right now, it looks like. Kenny put out an interview the other day saying that if Tank decided he wasn't going to fight on March 1st, that he would back Tank up 100%, because if you're not feeling like you're being respected the right way, if you think the PBC is celebrating Canelo Alvarez and putting him up on top of buildings and treating him like the face of boxing and rolling out the red carpet for him, and you feel like you're not being treated the same way, that could lead to those kind of conversations about retirement and boxing being BS and all those things, right? So Lamont Roach might be here at the right time to take advantage of a unfocused, Gervonta Tank Davis, an unmotivated Gervonta Tank Davis. He could be coming right around the right time and be able to take advantage of it. We don't know what's actually going on over there. So let's give Lamont Roach his fighter's chance, his puncher's chance, and see what happens on March 1st, right? What's good, Freedom March? What's good? Salute. XL says salute to the chat. Salute to you, XL. Clay, can you break down what's going on with Cigar Talk in Mill City if you know anything about it? I'm hearing about it. I don't know. What's so crazy? I was going to call Mill City last night, and I'm probably going to call him later today, right? I'm going to call him later today, and I want to talk to him in here right from the horse's mouth. I don't know if I would necessarily want to, speculate and with the rumors and stuff. Both those gentlemen are good dudes. I happen to be close friends with Mill City. That's my guy. Cigar, now I don't know Najee like that, but I love his content. I love his energy, what he brings to the space. I don't know what the issue could be. But I do see people talking about it. I saw Two Tone put something up about it. I didn't watch that video at all. I figured what I'm going to do is watch Mill. I'm going to call Mill up, and I'm sure Mill will let me know. More than likely, if I know Mill, he's going to be like, ain't no beef. He'll be like, ain't no smoke. But depending on the tone of his voice, I'll see what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'll see what it is. Walaikum salam, legacy over currency. What's good, family? Peace. Let's see here. Yeah, but XL, I don't know, man. I really don't know, man. Big Sarge, personally, I will not pay for pay-per-view for any Tank Davis or Canelo fights unless it's against opponents I'm interested in. Big Sarge, that's the way to deal with it, right? As a fan, as a boxing fan base, That's how we're supposed to deal with it. I encourage the boxing fan base to deal with these situations like that. If you're not getting what you want, just complaining about it is not going to be enough. You got to show out with your money, man. Let your money talk. It talks a lot louder than our voices most of the time, right? Let's be honest. Let's see here. The fangirl still hoping that Tank is going to grow some DGO. Man, Coach Calvin was at the second press conference. Yeah, Greenville, and he was there. He was definitely there, but he definitely wasn't at the first one, and he wasn't on the stage with Tank on that one, right? I'm not saying there is a problem between Calvin and Tank. I don't know what's going on between Calvin and Tank. What I'm saying is Lamont Roach, there's a whole lot of intangibles that we're not aware of with rumors going on out there. Lamont Roach, as far as him using everything he can use in order to win this fight, he may be at the right time. We don't know. Tank didn't confirm that he's working with Calvin on this fight necessarily. Calvin spoke and said if he wasn't there with him, he would still support Tank, right? Why talk like that? I mean, that part of it is feeding the algorithm and having a controversy go up so that this fight can sell as much as it can, so people you can have as many eyes on the situation as possible. But there's also another potential reality of the situation. And the potential reality is that if the budget is not where it needs to be as far as Tank Davis is concerned, and the way he feels about boxing is starting to change. Well, if the way he feels about boxing is starting to change, then the way he feels about the people around him can be starting to change, because the people around him are there. The foundation that's got them all together, the glue that's holding them all together, is actually boxing. So if Gervonta Tank Davis's perspective on boxing is changing, all type of things can be changing as well. You know what I mean? It's possible, right? But I'm just speculating just to say Lamont Roach got a fighter's chance in this fight, and the timing could just be right for Lamont Roach. He may have the perfect Tank in front of him, that the most beatable Tank that's in front of him may be here today based on his lack of motivation and lack of inspiration in the game, right? We don't know. We don't know at the end of the day. We are controversy sells, Greenville, 100%. 100%, family. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. You ain't never lie. You ain't never lie. Oh man, Mr. Lightning says, I doubt Tank will fight Keyshawn Davis next at all, man. We don't know, man. We don't know, man. Who would have called Lamont Roach? Who would have said Lamont Roach was going to be a fight that we are going to be seeing Tank in? Who would have called it? You never know. You never know. Canelo High Ground says, Clarissa Shields versus Remy Ma beefing over Papoose. Remy is a better opponent than who Clarissa just fought, so I'm here for it. Yeah, man, Clarissa, man, get the gloves on. You know what I mean? Get you a 3 to 6 month training camp, and let's make it happen, bro. Big pay-per-view right there, right? Big pay-per-view. Hunter Young says, y'all was saying this when Tyson fought like 3 subpars in a row on pay-per-view, or maybe y'all were not watching boxing back then. Yeah, Hunter Young always did it to remind us that you don't know shit about boxing. Salute to Papoose clapping Clarissa Shields. Nice, fat, pretty. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah. I think it's going to look like a Frank Martin fight. All right. Yeah, look, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Let's keep on moving, though. Keyshawn Davis putting it together. He has his job to do. Tank Davis is already there. Keyshawn's job is to make himself top tier fighter that the fans want to see. I think the mere fact that rumors are going around, that conversations are happening between Keyshawn Davis's camp, which you'd have to assume is top rank, Bob Arum, those kind of guys, are speaking with Gervonta Tank Davis's team. When we talk about Gervonta Tank Davis's team, you got to think, you got to think Steven Espinosa, maybe 40, his manager. You want to say Al Heyman because you want to talk about the PBC, but we don't know the status that Al Heyman is holding right now. With the PBC right now, how focused he is on coordinating and making these big deals. But whoever Gervonta Tank Davis is looking at to be the person to manage his interest, you would have to assume they're in communications. I don't know where the rumors are coming from. From what I understand, they're referencing that interview from Keyshawn Davis. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. It is what it is. But look, the mere fact that the algorithm is buzzing right now, that the conversation is happening on all these content creation spaces, at a minimum, it shows that the boxing space is interested in the fight happening. And that's the beginning usually of, the interest gives you an idea of what the pay-per-view might do, how many seats will sell in the building. The interest is there, right? The interest is definitely there. Let's check it out right here, though. So look, where is it at right here? So Jaron Ennis has priorities, right? Jaron Ennis has priorities, guys. Let's talk about Jaron Ennis for a minute right now, and let's put a stamp on this Jaron Ennis situation and stop throwing Jaron Ennis under the bus for what we think Jaron Ennis, from what we think he should do and what we know he will do, right? We know what Jaron Ennis is gonna do and what he wants to do. But then there's the other part of the conversation is what we want him to do. Everybody's pushing back. I saw Tim Bradley have a video he put out a little bit earlier. I think it was today, matter of fact, talking about it. Yeah, for sure, Ross Scott, for sure. We're actually going to be talking about that as well, Ross Scott, as far as Terrence Crawford is concerned, right? You saw me put that up there. That's why you probably said that. But we know what we want him to do. And even Tim Bradley is criticizing Jaron Boots Ennis. He thinks he's making the biggest mistake with his career right now. He thinks he's just way too focused on getting these belts at 147, and that him even putting Teofimo on the back burner or making him not a priority, coming off of turning down a huge fight on one of the biggest cards ever made in boxing, supposedly, with Virgil Ortiz, obviously, is the fight I'm talking about, him passing on that to hang back at 147, where there's not even a unification positively being negotiated, right? Eddie Hearn did say that he is in conversations with Mario Barrios, that he's in conversation with Stanionis, that he and that we already know what's going on with Brian Norman, right? Brian Norman has shown his interest in making the fight, but he has other things to do. Brian Norman in having his tune-up, defending his mandatory, or just having his regular fight, whatever you want to call it. And then after that, he's going to be more so focused at coming at Jaron Boots Ennis for that unification. If Jaron Boots Ennis doesn't have an available dance partner as far as unification is concerned, he is willing to entertain Teofimo Lopez, but outside of that, he's given Eddie Hearn's specific instructions that these unification fights are the most important thing. That's a priority. He wants him to continue to negotiate aggressively with these other champions. At this point, we got to know that that's what his priority is, right? Because right now, if I ask the chat right now and I say to you guys, what do you think Jaron Ennis's next move should be? I don't think there's going to be many people in here who are talking about unifying them titles, right? Like, let's be honest. Damn, Ross Clark, Papoose a bum. Wow, Papoose a bum. Papoose a soldier, man. He held it down and everything for his queen. You know what I'm saying? She was in prison, held it down, you know what I mean? Been a stand-up dude. Why you got to be a bum, man? Y'all just diabolical up in here. Drama actually sells for more than controversy, in my opinion. Okay, Big Sarge, for sure, man. Crawford can fight whoever. Let me see. Duck Boots. Daniel Penny still says Duck Boots, man. Boots is making the best decision for himself, as it should be, since he is the one going inside that squared circle. 100%. 100%, man. He has to make the best decision for himself, because he has to be able to sleep at night knowing that he made those decisions and he needs to be able to live by it. And right now, it looks like the torment that he would give himself personally if he were to leave that 147-pound division and not beat an actual champion would follow him to the end of his career and be something that he might regret for the rest of his career. So he has to do what he has to do. But the boxing space has to make a decision as to whether or not we're going to respect it or not at this point. And what I mean by that, I want to be specific, right? Because we can disagree with it. But when people take the narratives and move the narratives in the direction of Boots is saying he's going to do one thing, but he's doing something else, I'm not too sure how fair that is. I don't know that Boots is saying he'll do one thing, but he's doing something else. Has he said that he's willing to do other things? Yes. But to me, I've always understood and had the impression from him that he was basically saying if the things he wants to do aren't available for him to do, that he's willing to do other things. Not that he's just going to move and forget about the things he wants to do and just move forward with these new things, right? I don't know. Let's see. Pap held it down for Ma, for her to get her cheeks clapped by a battle rapper. Crazy, bro. Crazy, man. It's crazy. If Boots can get one of the other champions at 147, which I doubt, if he can't get one of the other champions at 147, which I doubt, move to 154. Yeah, man. Yeah, Antonio. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm not going to even lie to you, bro. I 100% agree with you, man. For a fact, I definitely agree with you, man. It's an issue. What does it say? Clay, not according to the text message Remy released. He ain't holding. Oh, man. Oh, man. These women are so diabolical. Well, Boots should unify the belts at least once and then make his next move. No doubt, Big Sarge. How can you duck someone not in your weight class and never showed interest in fighting you? Is Virgil Boots a mandatory? Did Virgil have a belt? Y'all just talking just to be talking. Yeah, man. And I think, listen, man, it is what it is, right? I think people are just projecting, right? They're projecting their two things: their anger at Boots for not moving, but also they're projecting what they want to see Boots do. They know it's very similar to the Tank situation, in my opinion, where you want to see Tank fight certain people for your own personal reasons. You know that these fights are going to be great, and he's not doing that right now. He's fighting other people, and it annoys you, right? So you're giving respect to Tank in a weird way. In a lot of ways, they're giving Jaron Boots his respect. They're basically saying, man, we know you're going to be great at 154. We want to see you compete in this space. We want to see you in this hornet nest being active, taking down these fighters, bro, and showing the world what we already know you are. And it's frustrating us that you're hesitating to do it, making us look stupid in a lot of ways when we get excited and the way we talk about you in our circles just to see you move that way, right? That's all it really comes down to. Salute to Keith was really, really good. Ross Scott said, if no one wants to fight Boots at 147, then he has no choice to move up, unfortunately. Yeah. But the question is that what the case is right now? See, there's some information that we're not in on, right? And we're not taking into consideration, which is based off of Boots' last performance. Based on his last performance against Karen Kukudachin, how many fighters who weren't willing to fight him are willing to fight him now? He's still a champion, and he's still probably the biggest payday anybody has at 147 pounds. The threat of being knocked out is still there, but there is a way to win against Boots now. He's a human being. He's no longer superhuman, right? He's not Wolverine. He's not impossible to hurt. He's not impossible to touch. And if you can hurt somebody and you can touch somebody, then you can beat somebody, right? So all the opportunities may be opening up for him, and we're just not being made abreast of all these different opportunities that are there. We just got to be a little bit more patient, I think, and we gotta see how this thing turns out. That's all it is. That's all it is. Salute Claymore. We need this Boots versus T.O. fight for the culture. Do we, Sonny? Do we? That's an interesting statement right there. Is that what we need for the culture? I mean, I'm excited for the fight. I would love to see the fight. I don't know if it's needed for the culture. That's an interesting statement right there, though, man. That's an interesting statement because I see a lot of people once again are upset about Boots, kind of like showing that T.O. isn't the priority right now. People are feeling like, here we go again, right? Here come Boots with that nonsense. It is what it is. Ross Scott said, Virgil left 147. I said this the other day, and no one said he ducked Boots. Now Boots ducking him at a higher weight class. Where's the logic? I agree with you, Ross Scott. I definitely agree with you, man. Where is the logic? T.O.'s good work for Boots? No doubt. Daniel Penny says Boots don't want any smoke. Come on, Daniel. Daniel, don't do this. Don't be upset. Daniel's upset. I could hear it. I could hear it in the text messages. As crazy as that sounds, Daniel. As crazy as that sounds, I hear it. I could hear it. He's upset. He's frustrated with Boots. He don't feel that way, bro. Daniel don't feel that way, bro. He's just upset. He's like, damn, bro, you really breaking my heart, Boots. You really supposed to be up in this 154-pound division, putting them paws on Virgil Ortiz, showing the world that you him, and you playing games, man. I'm done with you. Boots. Big XXXL has a rehydration cost for 130 pounds. Lamont Roach will be the worst choice in his boxing career to date. If Tank has, that's not happening. Ain't no rehydration clause. I don't believe that. T.O.'s the only one vocal. Ross Scott said, if T.O. is the only one vocal about fighting Boots, that means no one at 47 is. Has Barrio said anything? Stanionis, they're all quiet as a mouse. Oh, man. Yeah, man. It is what it is. I personally don't mind T.O. because he's a former undisputed champion, was on a pound-for-pound list. I want to see the races get hands put on him. Yeah, I'm there with you on that, too, as well. T.O. For Boots is a no-win situation for Boots because T.O. is a smaller guy. I don't think so. I think if Boots has a great fight with Teofimo, it's going to attract a lot of attention to him. I think people give Teofimo, a lot of people give Teofimo a real good chance of winning this fight, man. A lot of people do, bro, especially after that Karen fight. I think that's a great fight. But Jaron Ennis has priorities, and we got to respect it, y'all. We got to be honest about that, man. He's not telling you guys stuff and doing something else. He's telling you what he's going to do, and he's doing it, and he's letting you know these other options are legitimately on the table. They're legitimately on the table. If the things he's trying to get accomplished aren't there for him, those opportunities aren't there for him, they're going to be there for him, right? It is what it is, right? But Terrence Crawford just did an interview recently. Well, interview was released to Terrence Crawford that he's in Germany right now at that WBC convention that's going on out there. And you guys know out there's a whole lot of announcements coming out as far as Turki Al-Sheikh and the plans he's got to work with Mauricio Suleiman. But Terrence Crawford was on stage and available to be interviewed and communicated a lot of things that, in my opinion, a lot of boxes that I wanted to get checked for 2025 to understand what to expect for Terrence Crawford. I think the biggest thing I walked away from listening to Terrence Crawford was that, I'm not just focused on Canelo Alvarez, right? He made it clear that if Canelo Alvarez is not the opportunity, if that turns out not to work out, then he doesn't plan on retiring if he doesn't fight Canelo Alvarez. He's open to make other fights happen, which is pretty interesting. Because if not Canelo, Terrence, then who, right? If not Canelo, then who? I think we have obvious opponents on the table that we're looking at. Obviously, Sebastian Fundora. Obviously, Bakram Murtazaliev. I hope I said his name correctly. I always say that, but I'm sure I'm butchering his name. All these are legitimate options for Terrence Crawford. Listen, man, the guy's a legend. Pound for pound, the best fighter in the game, in my opinion. And I think whoever he chooses to fight is going to be an interesting fight. One thing I don't think Terrence Crawford is ever going to do is cherry pick, right? I just don't see him cherry picking. He might cherry pick, but the cherry pick is going to be based off of the competitive nature of the fight, based on the most complicated or the fight that's going to make him look the best based on the level of competition that it is in front of him that he defeats. So we're going to have to definitely see what he does. What we got here, T.O. has been vocal about fighting all the boxers at a high weight class in Crawford, Boots, and Norman Jr. T.O. also has have thoughts about fighting fighters in the low weight classes. You're talking about Tank Davis, right? But why not the fighters in his own class, right, Big Sarge? What's up with the fighters in your class? I think Teofimo legitimately should be looking at Richard Hitchinson. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think a Brooklyn fight, Richardson Hitchens in New York. Two fighters from New York, from Brooklyn specifically, fighting each other. Crazy. It's a unification title fight. I think Hitchens is a legitimate option. If it's matter of fact, if that fight with him and Boots doesn't happen, I feel like there's really no other choice. There really is no legitimate, dance partner outside of Hitchens or Devin Haney, obviously, right? Or Devin Haney. That's what I believe. You know what I mean? But yeah, let me see. Salute Rain. Salute Eric O in the building. I like the T.O. Hitchens fight sounds like the fight that should be made if this fight with Boots Ennis doesn't happen. It seems like that seems like the more logical fight that should be happening. Big Sarge, but nothing for anyone at 140. That's either two things, duck language or clout chasing. Either way, he's fought nobody. Yeah, man, T.O.'s situation is complicated, bro. It's horrible, man. It's horrible, man, because in all honesty, man, T.O.'s supposed to be way more active, and I had way more aspirations for him. I thought he's going to be way more of a threat, but it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Ben's manager focused on Barrios and Tank Davis for a huge payday. All right, I'm looking over here on the internet here, the things that people are talking about. Everybody trying to talk about this Usyk Tyson Fury fight. I don't know why I'm not talking about that fight as much as I should be. I mean, it's just that fight to me is just simple. And it's not simple, but it's Tyson Fury has to be strong enough to do something, or I got Usyk just winning that fight, man. I mean, I'm sorry, bro. I just think Tyson Fury, I don't know, man, right? I don't know. Let me see here. Grand Rising, Kings and Queens, salute. Cameron Fields in the building, salute. Because we know what we getting. Yeah, Blade, you're right, man. Jackie Hernandez, Jackie! Salute, yeah, let me see here. Cameron Fields, salute. Claymore, please, peace and blessings, King. I like T.O. Hitchens. T.O. with school Hitchens. I like to see it. I think T.O. wins that. I think T.O. wins it too as well. Jab that like for the bro, 100%, man. T.O. is more accomplished than Boots and Tank. Yeah, he is. He is. But his status doesn't hold the weight, right? His status is not there, which is why he's crying every single day and not fighting and complaining and trying to make fights. It is what it is. It is what it is. But if Terrence Crawford is not fighting Canelo Alvarez, Guys, the biggest fight possible for Terrence Crawford, who do you think it is? I'm going to tell you guys a fight that I think is there for Terrence Crawford that is a lot of money if Canelo Alvarez doesn't take the fight. Could you guys guess? Can you guess who I'm thinking about to fight Terrence Crawford if Canelo Alvarez does not fight Terrence Crawford? What fight do you think is a big fight for Terrence Crawford? Could you guess? They fear ain't I don't know, Blade. Guess, man. I got one. And I know you guys gonna be like, get out of here, bro. Stop playing. Nope, it ain't Charlo. It's not Charlo. I'm gonna say like this. It's a huge pay-per-view fight. Huge pay-per-view fight. Lot of money. A whole lot of money. If Terrence Crawford is wanting to make a lot of money at 37 years old, this fight right here is one of the biggest fights that he got. A belt, no belt. Unfortunately, no belt, man. Man. And it's a fight that I'm going to tell you the money is interested in. The money is interested in this fight. The money is very interested in this fight in a legitimate way. Spence? Nope. It ain't Spence. I'm not going to even say nothing. I think I'm going to upset you guys. I see all these names here, and I think you guys are going to get upset. And we have to look closely at Teo's last two opponents, Jermaine Ortiz, who had a loss. The Clyde had 6 losses, but he's somehow a great fighter. You already know the story, Big Sarge, when it comes to Teofimo. When it comes to Teofimo, he fights up to the opponent that's in front of him. That doesn't mean nothing with Teo. We already know that if he's fighting somebody who he's not supposed to be fighting, that it's not far-fetched that he'll have a poor performance. This is who he is. Nope, he ain't got no belt, man. Nah, Fundora, man. Ain't no money in that Fundora fight, man. And Terrence Crawford, listen, man. Terrence Crawford fought an Ismail Madrimov, right? A fight with for a belt, and it didn't get the attention. It didn't do that well on the pay-per-view or nothing like that. So it has to be the right opponent. Somebody who's going to bring that sauce to the press conference. Somebody who's going to bring the sauce with the fan bases. Nah, not Jake Paul. We ain't got to go there, Cameron Fields. I'm going to tell y'all straight up, I think Ryan Garcia is a legitimate option for Terrence Crawford. I think that Ryan Garcia's talked a lot about Terrence. I think that Turki Al-Sheikh is interested in the fight happening. I think I could see Ryan Garcia at 154, and I think that thing sells crazy. Terrence makes a huge, huge payday. Turki Al-Sheikh is actually talking about working with Ryan Garcia and actually making Ryan Garcia an ambassador of Riyadh season. These are conversations that Turki Al-Sheikh that I've heard him speak on. I think that's a legitimate opportunity for Terrence Crawford to put hands on somebody who's been talking very reckless, not only to him, but to the boxing space and obviously to the demographic that Terrence Crawford represents. And I think that the amount of people that will come out there, if you want to see Ryan Garcia get his tail whooped, who better than Terrence Crawford to do it? And if you want to see Ryan Garcia prove himself, and if Ryan Garcia wants to prove himself to be one of those fighters, he's done nothing remarkable in the game. He's fought for no belts. He has no championships. This is a fight that's right up Ryan Garcia's alley. If Canelo Alvarez doesn't go through, I don't know who's going to get Terrence Crawford more money than Ryan Garcia. I'm going to be real with you. Now, you can be mad at me. I understand, man. I definitely understand the frustration. Ryan Garcia has done a lot of antics and been on a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, he will be back in April. And if Canelo Alvarez, the face of boxing, who's Terrence Crawford's biggest payday, doesn't come through, where does he go? Does he go to Errol? No. Errol isn't going to be his biggest payday. It won't be Errol. Will it be Jamel? Maybe. I just don't think so, but maybe Jamel Charlo. I think Jamel Charlo is a literal second place to Ryan Garcia. But I think the number one guy to make him the money, yeah, bro, it's Ryan Garcia. That's what I think, man. Let's see what happens, all right? I could be crazy. Daniel Penny said King Ryan. Yeah. What do you guys think about that? Am I crazy? Yeah. Roscott, he should be banned for life. F that sucker. And I hear you, brother. Turkey would be an idiot if he makes Ryan an ambassador of boxing. Oh, come on, man. I don't know. Would that make him an idiot? I don't know. You guys act like Ryan Garcia cannot redeem himself in the boxing space. I'm not talking about with the communities. Like with me personally, the way he came out with black people and Muslims and George Floyd, I ain't gonna lie to you. That right there is something personally I can't get with. But on a boxing level, Ryan Garcia has a talent to be a great boxer. If he focuses his energy and he focuses his attention and he does what needs to be done and he gets away from the antics and he's knocking people out and he's getting belts and he's challenging some of the biggest fighters in the game and winning, we gonna hate it, but we're gonna have to keep it 100 and say that he's one of those guys. It is what it is. It is what it is. But his following right now is insane, and he's a legitimate fighter. He's a legitimate fighter. So with Crawford, it's about money, but with Boots, it's about belts. Maybe Daniel. Crawford, it used to be about belts. He already got the belts. He already got the recognition and the accolades. And he said he wants to make his biggest paydays. It could be that. Boots and Terrence Crawford in two separate conversations, Daniel. You know what I mean? Definitely could be that way. Jake Paul maybe too, though, Clay. Nah, not Jake Paul. Hell nah. Terrence Crawford wouldn't discredit his legacy by fighting. I would feel some kind of way if I seen him get in the ring with Jake Paul. I ain't gonna lie to you. I feel some kind of way. I'm petty. I don't want him to make any damn money. Yeah, I'm petty too. But Cameron, let's be real. Let's be real. Wouldn't it be? I mean, maybe you guys don't know yet. You haven't thought about it, but seeing Ryan get KO'd, seeing him get punched in his mouth and laid out, something about that, man. Something about that brings my heart joy. I'm not going to act like it doesn't. I'm not going to act like it doesn't. If anybody's up for the task, it's Terrence Crawford. Raphael said, fights I'm really going to be interested in this weekend. Akhmadaliev and Ricardo, Munguia versus Sarachi, and the other sleeper, which is going to be the Barn Burners, Rocha versus Curel. I agree. Yo, what network is these fights going to be on, though? I've been trying to find it. I mean, I'll find it. I always do. I just haven't really looked it up yet. But let me know, Raphael, what network that's going to be on. I know Top Rank. Is it an ESPN fight? Is it a Top Rank situation? Exactly. That's what I say. In my opinion, yeah. Ross Cod, Crawford has solidified legacy already. So yeah, it's about money, and it's justified. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. The Broad Crawford era. There you go. King Austrian can't take a punch. He has a glass jaw. That fight won't last one round. It'll last a couple of rounds. It will. Not because of the competitive nature of the fight necessarily, but just because of the way Terrence Crawford fights, right? He's meticulous in the way he approaches it. He processes data. He takes his time. He's not going to sleep on that left hook. He knows not to jump in there crazy. He's going to take his time and dismantle Ryan Garcia. But I do believe he stops him. Ducking like Bruce Seldon versus Mike Tyson. Nah, I don't know what level Ryan should be banned, period, 100%. Kenny Moore, Golden Boy, doesn't get much out of that fight. Too high a risk, too low reward. Ryan is going to make money pretty safe. So to say no matter what. Kenny Moore, I'm going to be honest with you, right? What you're saying logically makes sense, but logically doesn't necessarily move with Ryan Garcia. And Golden Boy doesn't influence what Ryan Garcia does clearly, right? He's shown it multiple times. He fought Gervonta Tank Davis when it didn't make no sense for him to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. He's fighting in Japan right now when Golden Boy wasn't part of that conversation at the end of this month. And he had to be threatened with being sued. This is who he is. One thing I'm going to give Ryan Garcia is he's always been involved with trying to make the biggest fights he can make. He's always been involved with that, never shied away from that. So don't think that Golden Boy's vested interest in this fight is going to make that much of a difference as to who Ryan fights next. I would say that personally. That's how I look at it. With Tank, let me see. With Tank, put Clarissa Shields on the rehab. Oh, my God. Cameron Fields said he and everything he stands for is relative to me. Okay, I think I'm done in on Ryan for now. Yeah, I hear you, Cameron. I hear you. But I think for Terrence Crawford, I'm going to be honest with you guys. For Terrence Crawford, that's a legitimate option. Ryan Garcia, if not, then Jamel Charlo, I think is another legitimate option. Jamel hasn't been back yet. I don't know if he wants to do a tune-up. He'd have to fight definitely inside the first quarter of this year. I think he would have to fight soon to be able to do that fight because Terrence is on an injury, supposedly not. They're not looking at him coming back until like May. So I would say about like February, March, you'll start hearing from Terrence Crawford about what his plans are going to be. That's what I would think, right? That's what I would think. But so hold on a second. Now, as far as Teofimo is concerned, if Teofimo, if not Jaron, if Teofimo's not fighting Jaron Ennis, then who do y'all got fighting Teofimo? Did you guys do we speak on that already? I think we already did speak on that. I think we already did build on that. I don't even hold you, bro. Let me see. Crawford gets the easy fights. How about Caleb Plant? Oh, hell no. These fights Crawford could potentially lose, but put Crawford in those situations like you do with Tank. Oh, okay. This is a shot at me because of Tank. Okay, I got you, bub. I got you. I had to read all the way through it to kind of understand where you were going with it, bub. I ain't gonna lie, right? Yeah, but Crawford and Tank are different, right? I don't want to be the one who brings a reality to that Tank Crawford conversation, but this is two different fighters, right? Terrence Crawford is a well-accomplished Hall of Famer, 2-weight class, undisputed 4-weight class champion. I mean, he's Tank is Tank, right? So yeah, I do expect Tank to fight those harder fights, and I'm going to call for him to do it because he hasn't done it yet, in my opinion. And yeah, I give Crawford the pass to do whatever the hell he wants to do, and it still doesn't mess with his status with me. Bub? Why'd you make me have to say that, bub? I didn't even want to say that, but I know you'd watch it. You made me say that, bub. I didn't even want to say that, man. I didn't even want to say that, bub. I didn't even want to say it. So let's see what else is going on in the space right now. What else is going up in the space? Yeah, Jaime Munguia is fighting this weekend, though, right, guys? That's going to be interesting. He gets a little tune-up fight. Hope his tune-up fight doesn't turn out to be an upset. That would be horrible for him. Who have Tank fought on the level of Spence? Exactly, Blade. It's just come on, right? They mad at me. Bub loves me, but he hates me at the same time. He love to hate me. He love to hate me, man. He just want me to give Tank his just due, man. He wants me to give Tank his just due. Is Jaron just scared to lose? No, Jaron's not scared to lose. Come on, Big Herm. That's not what it is, family. We got to stop it, man. It's not scared to lose, man. We got to understand. It's not our job to, though, at the end of the day. I'm not going to lie to you, man. It's not our job to empathize with these boxers and empathize with their situations and their mentalities and their own goals and aspirations. It's not our job to, but if you're genuinely trying to figure out what's going on in Jaron Boots Ennis' mind as far as why he's moving the way he's moving, then you have to acknowledge and empathize with who he is, which is a legacy-driven fighter. To him, it's the biggest deal in the world for him to unify or at least beat a champion in the division that he's in to earn his belt. This holds a lot of weight on his shoulders, man. And we got to acknowledge that, man. And in many ways, we'd be celebrating this man if this was a different weight class. If he was at 154 with this mentality, he'd be the purest boxer. He'd be the purest form of what we want a boxer to be. Somebody who's so focused on legacy, who wants to fight the champions, wants to challenge and unify his division. We'd celebrate him. But because he's at 147 and we know that 154 is a hornet's nest and we want to see him up there because we know what kind of fights we want to see him in, we're going to start saying things like, is he scared to lose? He's not scared to lose. This man was trying to fight Terrence Crawford at 147. Errol Spence. He wanted to fight all the champions. If anybody could beat him, Terrence did, and he wanted to fight him when he was at 147. So he's not scared to lose up at 154. He wants his respect. He's doing this for the respect of himself, when he looks in the mirror. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But I want him to hurry up. I want him to hurry up and get it done, though, so he can go to 154, right? I ain't gonna lie to you. That's a fact. Bub said, I respect it. Come on, bro. Spence was damaged goods, 2 car accidents, and he was in top condition out of the ring. How many years? Shake my head. Stop it. Hey, bro, that's not his fault. That's not his job to make sure Errol Spence is the best version. Errol Spence is supposed to keep himself up. Errol Spence is supposed to be the best version of himself. I'm sorry. I'm not going to hold that against Terrence Crawford. I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? And you know what? The man is still pursuing Canelo Alvarez, which would squash all that, which would be the biggest victory he could ever have in his whole entire career. So Terrence Crawford is not the best in the world only because he's undefeated or something like that. It has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that this man always looks to challenge himself, and he always steps to the challenge to the point to where it's not even a good idea to bet against him, even going against Canelo. Right? I just can't bet against Terrence Crawford. You just got to beat him to show me you can beat him. That's how Terrence Crawford looks to me. You know what I mean? Who was favored in Spence versus Bud? Bud was. Has Bud ever been an underdog? Hunter, he'll be an underdog against Canelo Alvarez. How about that? He'll be an underdog against Canelo Alvarez. I'm speaking about now that the fights are on the table. Okay. Let me see here. Let's go down. That's facts. Hunter Young, when did Bud go up 2 weight classes to fight a top 5 to 7 guy? I don't know, bro. I don't know what you want me to tell you, Hunter. You're mad? You don't want Terrence to be Terrence, man? Bud beat a 2-time car crash champion plus eye surgery plus weight drained Errol. Whose fault is that? That, you know, it's crazy. Bud called that, right? Bud called it and said that y'all would say that when he fought him. What do you do? Crawford, that dude. Spence was a bum. It is what it is. That's what Ross Scott's saying. Blade Brown, LOL. None of that was mentioned until after Spence got beat. Before that, Bud was going to get whooped and was scared. 100%, man. 100%, bro. It don't matter, man. But I'm going to tell you, that's why Terrence Crawford and fighters like him deal with the social media space and the boxing fans the way he does. Because he knows there's no pleasing you guys. So he does what's going to please him. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It is what it is. So Bud beat a bum, got it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, man. It is what it is. What else is there to talk about, man? Today's show wasn't going to be that complicated, really just building up. I am going to throw the link up as well if y'all want to step up here and build with the kid. But it was really simple, man. I really wanted to talk about Keyshawn, and I did. I think Keyshawn is doing his thing, and I wanted to highlight that just by hearing these content creators talking about this fight happening. Everything's going right according to plan and with the way I told you guys it was going to go, bro, with Keyshawn. Just remember I told you guys, just be honest with yourself. Claymore been talking about Keyshawn Davis and Tank Davis for a long time, man. And now they talking about it. They were shooting at it before, but they talking about it now, ain't they? What's going on? Shaquilla Fields in the building. Is this and that still bigger than the one who beat him? Is he? I don't know, Shaquille. Is he? Right now? I don't know. I gotta think about that. Is Errol Spence bigger than Terrence Crawford right now? I don't think so, Shaquille. I don't think he is. I think he was, but I think this hiatus is hurt that energy a little bit right now. You know what I mean? I don't think he is anymore. Shaquille. I don't think he's bigger than Terrence. Maybe, I don't know. You might be right. I don't know, man. Why beating Errol is the worst. Can I debate why beating Errol is his worst opponent? I don't know why you want to do that. Salute for our frequency. What's good with you, family?
What's going on, Clay? You can hear me clear?
Oh yeah, I hear you clear, man. I hear you clear. What's good with you, family?
No, I'm good, man. I just wanted to talk about this Keyshawn Davis versus Tank thing.
Okay.
I think it's funny how, when Keyshawn first started calling him out, um, people, were asking for this fight. You know, not everybody, but some people were asking for this fight, saying that Keyshawn need to fight Tank. I know you was one of them as well, but a lot of the Tank fans, they didn't accept that. They were saying that Keyshawn don't deserve it. What has he done? He's still, he just got past being a prospect and all of that. But now all of a sudden, since it seems like, they think that Tank's team is acceptive of that fight. Now all of a sudden he's the best fight for Tank all of a sudden.
Right.
And Shakur is not worthy, or Shakur, he deserves to be skipped past Shakur or whatnot. I'm not mad at the fight and everything. I think that Shakur, is busy. He got 2 fights in front of him or whatever, and so I don't mind the fight at all. But I just think it's funny how it was like, what has he done at first, but now it's like, yeah, he needs to fight him or whatnot. But I think Tank looks at Keyshawn Davis. If I'm being real, I think he looks at him as a weaker opponent than Shakur Stevenson. A harder fight for him would be Shakur Stevenson. I think.
Right.
I think that's how Tank looks at it, because because of the experience. He doesn't have to chase Keyshawn around. Keyshawn's going to be there, so all he has to do is do what he do what he do best. Try to set him up. Or he's right there in front of him. He's not going to be fighting somebody who's defensively hard to get at. Hard to he won't have to cut off the ring and stuff like that. I think those are the harder things. Those are the harder fights for Tank.
I think it is a harder fight. I definitely think it's a harder fight, but I don't think that's necessarily what's driving this Keyshawn Davis fight necessarily, as far as from Tank's point of view. You know what I mean? I think it's about what's doable and what's not doable. In my opinion, I think it's finances, it's money. I think what's on the table for him and what's not on the table for him as far as options are concerned. I think Shakur Stevenson comes to the table with the price point. He does. Some people might want to paint the picture and say Shakur. Oh, what is going on here? Hold on. Things are just playing in the background. I think there's a price point for Shakur Stevenson. And once again, not to say that he's pricing himself out, but I think that I've talked about this before, right? I mean, you've had those conversations before where I tell you that Tank Davis is supposed to represent these fighters' biggest paydays, the fighters that he's fighting against. He's supposed to represent that. And in all reality, that's what he brings to the table. And if he takes that off the table, if Tank Davis takes away the highest payday off the table, then Tank Davis legitimately becomes, in his own way, a Jaron Boots Ennis, right? He becomes high risk, low reward, because at the end of the day, he doesn't bring legacy. He doesn't bring those accolades. You know what I'm saying? Because he hasn't made that his focus on his career. He's made his career in being in some of the most exciting fights, you know what I mean? And his handlers have made it on point to stylistically put him in front of fights that are going to make him part of exciting fights, you know, flat-footed Mexican fighters who are going to come forward, who are going to press the action and give him the opportunity to capitalize off of what he does. Tank, I tell you guys, and I tell you guys over and over again, Tank Davis, in my opinion, hasn't been the type of person who's been hands-on on his opponents that he fights against. He really hasn't been. And I think just now, right now in his career, he's starting to try to get that way, and he might be bumping into some walls. He might be running into a lot of adversity when it comes down to it, because these fighters come with price points. He's not going to be going in his pockets to pay these fighters. He's expecting the PBC and Tom Brown and all those guys to come together and put these purses together to make these fights worthwhile, not only for him and make his paydays the highest paydays, but also for the opponents that he wants to fight. And it looks like there might be some issues in putting that together. So when you look at a Lamont Roach, you look at a Keyshawn Davis, you're looking at doable fights that are available that can be made for Tank. I don't think Tank is cherry picking his way through it and saying no to Shakur and saying yes to Keyshawn. I think it's more as Keyshawn's price point is doable. It's something that makes sense. Keyshawn's hungry. Keyshawn looks like he damn near ready to do the fight for free. You know what I'm saying? Not to say he would, but he's not talking about the money. He's really talking about the opportunity to fight Tank Davis because of who Tank Davis is in the era of boxing, the face of boxing. Shakur's more balanced with it. He's more like, yeah, I want to fight Tank because everybody says he's the best, but I'm not willing to do it for nowhere near for free. I want the money to make sense. Everybody wants the money to make sense. Loma wanted the money to make sense. Anybody who fights Tank Davis, not anybody, but I would say the generational talent, those top dudes, the Devin Haney's, the Teofimos, the Shakur Stevensons, Lomachenko, these fights that people are asking for, these guys are going to want their biggest paydays. These guys are already legacy driven. They've already done a lot for their legacy, and they can continue to do more for their legacy without fighting Tank. They don't need to fight Tank for the legacy. So that's why you're going to see Keyshawn Davis, in my opinion, be more of a legitimate option right now than Shakur Stevenson is based on that, I think. You know what I mean?
Well, how do you look at it as far as how the difficulty of the fight, like how difficult the fight is for Devontae Tank Davis? Because
Salute,
I know,
Donnie. I'm Fly. Go ahead, Fly. What were you saying?
yeah, I was asking, how do you see it as far as how difficult the fight is for Devontae Tank Davis? You know, Shakur versus him fighting Keyshawn Davis, and with Tank, saying that he's thinking about retiring and stuff next year and all of that. He already got the money. So the next thing, that you would think that he would be trying to retire with is the accolades, or getting somebody with some accolades under his belt. Shakur is more decorated than Keyshawn Davis is. Keyshawn is not even a champion yet. Shakur is, he's a champion at 3 weight classes. He's a unified champion at junior lightweight, I believe. I think that would be a much bigger accomplishment, for him to beat Shakur than Keyshawn Davis.
Tank doesn't care about the accomplishments, frequent like he doesn't.
On his way out, you don't think so either? Because if he's thinking about retiring, on his way out, you would think that those would be his last fight, because he already had the big money fight.
No, he hasn't, man. He's made good money, but the big money fights are supposed to be right now. $240 million is supposed to be right now. You know what I'm saying? This is supposed to be his big fights. And this is what he's frustrated about. This is why he's pushing for the retirement. Because if it's not going to be for the money, for his most money, he's asking himself, why am I even going to do it? You know what I'm saying?
You say 240 million, it make me think you're talking about that list, right? Keyshawn is not on that list, bro.
No. Okay. So we got to do this step by step. Let me bring Donnie in. I'm going to answer. I'm going to really try to break this down for you so you understand what I'm saying. Donnie, what's good? Oh, Donnie, what's good with you, family? How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, Claymore.
Yes. How you feeling?
This is my first time ever calling in to. How you doing today, man? I'm good, man.
You gotta turn your YouTube off.
You gotta turn your YouTube off. You gotta turn the volume down on your YouTube.
We got a delay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you gotta turn your YouTube off or turn it down.
How's that?
On the I can still hear it. You should just turn it down all the way. Trust me, it's better.
Oh, the TV too. I have both on. Sorry.
Yeah, the TV.
Anyway, if you will allow me, bro, I want to go back a little bit and talk about the Terrence Crawford situation and Spence.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm 70 years old. I turned 70 back in September.
Congratulations.
I've seen a lot of boxing.
Yes, sir.
And so just having said that, when Terrence and Spence was about, and Errol was about to fight, I was nervous for both of them because I'm a boxing fan. Of course, Terrence was my favorite, but I was so scared that either one of them would lose. But somebody had to win, somebody had to lose. Now, let's establish this. Sure, Spence had a lot of trauma in his life. He's had a lot, but so was Terrence. Terrence grew up in the streets, fighting all the time, getting beat up, getting his head bashed in, and got shot in the back of his head and drove himself to the hospital. How many of us could have done that? Okay. Let me ask you this question, Clay. How many world championships? How many divisions did he win a world championship in?
4.
3 or 4? 4. Okay. And he was undisputed in the 140 and 147 divisions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, who did he have to beat to become undisputed?
The champions in the division. He had to unify.
Exactly. That's the point I want to make when people start like you said, getting in their feelings and either putting Spence down or putting Errol down. They're both warriors, man. I respect the heck out of both of them.
Yes, sir.
But Terrence has been through just as much as Errol been through, and he came out on top. So disparaging these fighters, it's beyond me, man. I'm passionate about this, you know.
Yes, sir.
I just can't understand why they would disparage any of these fighters. Anybody that lace them up and put and step in that ring.
Yes, sir.
They're warriors.
Yes,
that's
sir.
all I want to say, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, man, you're right. You're right, Donnie. Without a doubt, man, especially when you're talking about the fighters who's competed at the highest level that the game has to offer and have come out on top, like Terrence Crawford, somebody who's competed at the highest level, who didn't hang out with the bottom feeders, who only fought the champions, the upper echelon of every single division. He was able to accomplish victories in those divisions, become undisputed in 2 of those divisions specifically, and now a four weight class division champion who has all kinds of opportunities in front of him. Yeah, disparaging him or discrediting his accomplishments is nonsense. But I think at times what ends up happening is people start to feel like it's one or the other. They have a hard time doing what you did, which is celebrating them both, right? Celebrating them both. So they feel like if they celebrate Terrence, it's a shot at Errol. If you celebrate Errol, it's a shot at Terrence. When that's not even what it is. It's celebrating them both in their own right. You know what I mean? They've earned it.
Hey, bro. I saw one guy in the chat And that's what made me call Errol a bum. Say he was a bum. So
Yeah.
Terrence Crawford didn't fight nobody because he was a bum.
Yeah, that's
his resume.
That's what he does.
And look at your life and tell me he's a bum.
Yeah. No, Ross Clott is
be a bum.
Ross Clott is
crazy, man.
Ross Clott is Mr. Your favorite fighter's a bum. That's what he does, but he doesn't feel like that all the way. He just says that. That's his line. I just said that the other day that I'm going to get a shirt made. I'm going to say your favorite fighter's a bum. Hashtag Ross Clott voice. That's what he does. But he knows
it didn't come across as sarcasm.
Yeah.
It came across as a definitive statement about the dude.
Yeah. You see, he put on the screen. He said, "OG salute, nothing but respect." That's just his line. That's his go-to, his calling card. When you see that in there, you know.
I stand corrected.
But listen, there've been other people who have done it plenty of times. Trust me. That's why you're angry, because that was just the hair that broke the camel's back, right? Like at the end of the day, it's happened many a times already by many fight fans. But it's the world we live in, man. We try to keep it alive though, and we push back at those narratives and we celebrate all the fighters. That's the best thing we can do, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
right?
Boxing the number one sport in the world. That's our job as fans.
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy. Thanks for taking my call, man.
No problem, Donnie. I appreciate you coming up, man. Feel free to come up again, man. Enjoyed your company.
All right, thanks, man.
No doubt. Now, frequent. So this we were talking about Tank Davis, right? We were talking about Tank Davis and the list and the $240 million and all these things, right? So
the difficulty in a fight, the difference between Shakur, a fight with Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis. I think it's a more difficult fight with Shakur.
Well, we're talking about money first. We already talked about the difficulty of the fight, but the money. We're talking about the money, right? Because you said the $240 million. You like speaking on that $240 million. Is Keyshawn on the list if he's trying to make that money? That's what you were kind of saying before. And I was about
if that was an Amazon deal, you think they're going to be willing to swap, names around, switch names and stuff like that?
Salute, Joseph Johnson. Well, I think that's the whole issue, right? I think that the issue with Tank Davis saying that he's wanting to retire after 2025, I think his frustration, his concerns with the future. He has concerns, obviously, with that deal, concerns with his money in general. And I think for Tank, if the money's not there, if the biggest bag isn't there, then that becomes a moot point as far as Shakur Stevenson becoming an important fight for him to make the most money possible. He is a fight there to make more money, with, but if he's going to get paid subpar to what he thinks he should get paid, then Keyshawn Davis might also be a legitimate option, right? Let's be honest.
But wait, if it's already a part of a deal and the money's already there,
thank you.
Then I don't get it. Why you would be worrying about if somebody's a bigger sell than the other if the money's already allocated to you. The money's already there for the fight.
No, the money's not already there. That's what my point is. I don't think the money is there.
So it's not a 6-fight deal or whatever. You don't
mean, at this point, I don't believe it, man. I just don't see it. I don't believe that. I don't believe that there's a $240 million 6-fight deal. No, I don't.
Okay, looking at it like that, I guess it would make sense for him to fight Keyshawn Davis, being that the hype is behind Keyshawn Davis at this point now because he just knocked out this guy Lemos. He's in the spotlight right now, so that would be the fight that you would expect to make the most money right at this point right now because he just did his thing in front of the world, when this guy Lemos knocking him out and everything, and the hype is built up right now. So yeah, I guess that will be the next fight to make for Gervonta Tank Davis if he's going after the money.
Yeah, man. I think that's what it's coming down to. I think it's a balance of all those things. I'm speculating. I'm speculating, but this is what I believe. I'm not gonna hold you. I believe that there's issues with that Amazon deal. I think that Amazon deal came with a lot of contingencies. I think those boxes aren't being checked, and I think that that Keyshawn Davis and Lamont Roach being on the table as fights. Well, Lamont Roach already obviously coming to March 1st, and Keyshawn Davis being in the conversation for a later date. I think these fights are on the table right now based on the price points of the fights being made, in a combination with also the excitement and the dance partners that they can be in the ring with them. You know what I'm saying? I think Lamont Roach is more personal, like we just aren't aware of it, but I think they think this fight is going to be a good fight. Lamont's going to come forward. He's not going to run around. He's going to slip shots and do things of that nature. But, you know, they believe they can make a great fight with Lamont Roach. They don't think it's going to be a steamroll. They're just going to walk over Lamont Roach and knock him out. They think it's going to be a fight where they knock him out, but Lamont's going to come for it. And the same thing with Keyshawn Davis. He's shown that clearly, that he's not running nowhere. He's going to make the fight. He's not going to run around. He gives Tank Davis one of the better opportunities to be involved in a fight, to where Tank Davis can counterpunch and things of that nature, and capitalize off of Keyshawn Davis's aggression, so that he can give the fan base the kind of fights that they want to see. That's what I believe is happening here if they are thinking about Keyshawn Davis. Shakur Stevenson, without a doubt, brother, is the most unlikely exciting fight from Gervonta Tank Davis's team, from his handlers. Keyshawn, will slow the fight down, and he can. I don't be buying that
when they be trying to, say that, that Shakur Stevenson versus Tank is a sleeper. It's not going to be an entertaining fight and all of that stuff. I don't buy that, man. I just think that that's a defense to try to, get people to the idea of thinking that it's going to be a boring fight, because they know that it's a possibility that this guy might outbox Tank or something like that. I think that's why Floyd Mayweather, moved Tank the way he did, because he probably saw something as far as, a good boxer, giving Tank trouble. Not saying that I think that Shakur would beat Tank, but I think that's a harder fight for, him trying to figure. It's a harder puzzle to figure out, having Shakur standing in front of him, as opposed to having somebody like Keyshawn Davis, a guy who's going to come forward and try to knock him out. I think that's a better fight for Tank, because he gets the chance to land his punch and do what he do best, which seems like, setting somebody up for a good shot, walking them into something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be harder for him to walk Shakur into something, because he's more of a defensive fighter, and when Tank is in that interview, people, tend to harp on that when Tank said, defense don't win fights, defense wins football games or basketball, whatever you said, but defense is one of the scoring criteria in boxing, bro. It's misleading. It's incorrect.
Yeah, no, listen,
I'm gonna go with that. I just wanted to know what's your perspective on the fight, though. What you think we'll see in that fight? Keyshawn versus Tank.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I appreciate you, Flyer. Thank you, man.
Sure.
Peace. Look who's in the building.
You made it. What you made? You made it.
Hold on a second here. Let me see here. Yeah, but what frequent what you were saying, man, I think you're right. I think what's happening though is, for me, I can't. Once I have understanding and I have knowledge of certain things, I can't unknow them, right? And what a long time ago, I would say about a solid. I would say the moment I saw the Toyota Supercenter get canceled out and that date get pushed out, in my opinion, I realized that there was financial issues going on over there. I did, man. And at that point, I started to look at what made sense, at that point, I started to say to myself, what makes dollars makes sense when it comes to the Tank Davis conversation. Mm-hmm. And if Amazon Prime was not going to honor this $240 million deal that was rumored to be out there, based on the fights, either A, based on the fights that they're asking for, or B, based on the fights that Tank and his team are willing to facilitate, then I started to look at, well, now any decision I see Tank make is going to be based off of what makes sense money-wise. Now, there was a part of me at one point in time that said, all right, well, you know what's going to happen? Tank is going to make the biggest fights. He's going to make a fight with Shakur. He's going to make a fight with Devin. He's going to make a fight with Teofimo, because those are the fights. At first, I thought Amazon Prime was putting their foot down and saying, unless it's these fights that are being made, we're not going to pay out. But now I'm starting to wonder if there's even an opportunity, if Amazon is even offering any money for any of these fights, if there's not a whole entire, I'm starting to wonder about the legitimacy of the deal in general. And then when I seen Lamont Roach get replaced being the fighter that was going to be in place, and they were going to do it at Barclays. And I seen Tank Davis's reaction to that press conference, him saying he wanted to retire. That right there switched another part of my brain that said, oh, the deal isn't real. And whatever the deal is that's on the table is a deal that Gervonta Tank Davis and his team find to be unacceptable. And they find it to be unacceptable to the point to where they're willing to retire and be done with boxing at the end of 2025. So then we can go into the other conversations with that knowledge. And when you look at making a fight with Shakur Stevenson right now, when you look at making a fight with Teofimo or any of the other Devin Haney's or any of the other guys that you want to see him fight, what you're going to look at and understand is that these fighters have all been paid decent money in their careers.
Awesome much.
Right? And they're not coming down. And they're not only are they not coming down from what they've made, but they're expecting to make more than they've made. And the question has to be at some point is does PBC's deal with Amazon provide them with the budget they need to offer these guys something comparable to what they've made higher so that they are making their highest payday so that they jump into these fights? I think it's reasonable to question it based off the fact that where Lomachenko was going to make the fight, he had the offer put on the table and he walked away from the table and didn't feel like that offer was lucrative enough for him to fight Tank Davis. That right there was a warning flag, not to mention them knocking on the doors of all these fighters to make these fights, but ultimately never legitimately sending them offers to make the fights happen. You know what I'm saying? So these things come full circle, and there's a lot of speculations involved in it, but Keyshawn Davis checks the boxes. He gives the exciting fight, and he's probably not challenging the payday that much right now. He's probably going to take damn near whatever they're going to give him because he's more hungry for the opportunity. I think Shakur wants the opportunity, but he's not as hungry as Keyshawn might be because he's in a position right now where he can make money, being that he has this relationship with Turkey and Eddie Hearn, and they're willing to pay him money to fight lesser fighters than Tank Davis. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be hard to get Shakur to derail him off the train track he's on right now, which is making a lot of money for him to go down and make not higher money to fight Tank because of a limitation on the budget that PBC may be bringing to the table. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Yo, yep. Salute Ray Davis. What's good with you, family? How you feeling there, man?
I mean, absolutely. And not to mention that a fight with Keyshawn would not break the bank, to be honest with you. It's easier to move in the direction of Keyshawn Davis over Shakur Stevenson, even though Lomachenko, because I just seen Loma come up in the chat. Shout out to Hunter Young on that, because Lomas cost too much. These guys cost too much. The value of these fighters that Clay is talking about is bread, and you're not willing to pay their opponents of Tank Davis. So what's easier for them is let's get a fight with somebody that's, that'll make a payday, but we're not going to break the bank giving them a payday. And Keyshawn's one of them. He's not a guy that's running around here making $3 million a fight. You know what I mean? He's probably in this couple $100,000 here and there. Maybe made $100,000, maybe made $1 million once upon a time, but it's still less than what you have to pay out to these other fighters. And if he becomes a champion in this unification, it may be worth paying him $1.2 million on a fight. So yes, this is definitely a situation where Amazon or PBC in that case, they're not willing to break the bank on these fighters. They're willing to only give him basically they're giving him an allowance. You know what I mean? And a lot of people aren't looking at this because I'm hearing people like, oh, they're gonna make the best payday fighting Tank, and they're gonna force Shakur and Frank, what's his name, Keyshawn, to hate each other and this and that. And he's playing them well against each other. Maybe, but guess what? At the end of the day, we know where it lies. It lies within the money of the PBC and them not having the funding to secure the bag for these fighters, and that's what it comes down to. I mean, it might not even be the PBC even paying Keyshawn. They might have it being that it's co-promoted. Guess who has to pay for that? Their side. It may just be Top Rank. So again, there's another opportunity for them to and replacing Loma for that fight. So we'll have to see. And if the negotiations that actually do go through with Keyshawn go through, and this is a fight that we see down the line, maybe in the summer or September, it's going to be a great fight. And great job calling this fight, Clay. saying that this might be the unification of the year, and Keyshawn may be that guy. Yeah, you salute yourself. It's okay. I see what you're doing. I'm trying to play.
Scratching my forehead, itching my forehead.
But I salute you too, because that was a good call on that. But yeah, I know you are, Clay. I'm just.
I mean, we don't hit the algorithm hard enough, and we're not as popular as other channels. So even though we've been talking about it for a while, they're gonna give the props.
Oh no. Listen, I heard the little jab yesterday. You know what I mean? And I was like, why? What's the point? I was like, yo, I said, bro, weakness, but it's okay. It's okay. It makes you feel better at the end of the day. You took your vitamins doing that. Awesome. You know what I mean? I hope that made you feel okay, because that's 2 days in a row that I heard a little jab. You know what I mean? About the time frame coming on and about the Keyshawn situation. I'm like, man.
It is what it is. It is what it is, man. Everybody's speculating, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not tripping, man. As long as anybody who is here is getting accurate information and they're not being misled, I'm good enough with that. But I want to add to what you were saying a little bit, right? So this whole entire Keyshawn situation and Shakur Stevenson situation and the money and the supposed indifference between Shakur and Keyshawn, and I've said that, right? I've entertained it, and I've said, man, at some point, boxers have egos, man. They have egos, man. It is what it is. And at some point, you would think that it's possible that Shakur could, maybe get in his feelings a little bit about what's happening with Keyshawn and Tank and all of that, right? But I also think there's another part of it where I think Shakur's aware of, if this fight gets put together with Keyshawn, why it's getting put together. And I also think that Keyshawn is also aware of the reason as to why his confidence is there that the fight's going to get put together. I think where people are thinking like there's indifference being caused, I think Keyshawn understands, like, yeah, bro, I know your choices are limited. I know you can't make these big fights with Shakur and Teofimo and Devin. I know you can't, bro. We know what's going on. We talking, you feel me? And I know, and that's why I'm confident in believing that, bro, you're gonna come my way. We gonna fight, bro, because at the end of the day, I am willing to take the lower money because I'm young in my career right now, and I've got so many things in the future that I can build off of this. This works out for me. This is a good scenario for me. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if Shakur's not like, yeah, bro, you might be the one to have to take it, bro, because I'm just not going to take no low money. I don't care what nobody says. I know people are wondering, what is Keyshawn going to do? And what is Shakur going to do? Shakur's going to move on. He's going to stay active. He's not going to retire. He's going to fight. He's going to move up to 140. He's going to continue to do great things. He's going to get belts up there. He's going to make opportunities. And he has a Riyadh season. He has Turkey Al-Sheikh and Eddie Hearn behind him to facilitate the money to put a lot of these events together. So he's not in the same position. Tank is in a position right now to where, and he's kind of painted himself into a corner just a little bit.
Yeah. Right.
And the way he's done it is, first of all, he's said a lot of stuff, and his fans have said a lot of stuff. But secondly, he's put out he's showing his cards before he's supposed to. He showed his cards by saying that he had a list of fighters and telling us a lot of the fighters that were on the list, which held him inside of a box of who we expect him to fight. Yep. And then he put himself in the corner now by saying that he's going to retire at the end of 2025. So now he has fights he needs to make, and he has a limited time, you know what I'm saying, to make it happen. And all this comes together full circle and just adds pressure onto him. And I think Keyshawn is aware, and Shakur is aware of that, right? Where Shakur might be like, listen, if the fight's going to come, it's going to be Turkey. There's no secret that Turkey has already spoken outwardly and said, listen, after Shakur does what he has to do, I'm going to offer Tank the fight with Shakur Stevenson in Riyadh. He's letting you know they're aware. They can't make it happen, bro. But I'm gonna make it happen because I can pay out. I can pay Tank what he wants to get paid, and I can pay Shakur what he deserves to get paid, and I can facilitate the fight. He already put out his intention on what needs to be done, and Keyshawn is also aware at the same time about, you guys think that I'm not on the list, and you think this list means something, and I'm telling you, my inside sources tell me he ain't got that many options.
Right.
There's a good chance I'm going to fight Tank. And that's what he's letting everybody know.
Absolutely. And you know what's crazy, Clay?
Salute to Echo. I always got to make sure.
Echo, what's up?
Let me put in the link too. I got you, Echo. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to address it. What do you, there's a question in there saying, why can't Top Rank pay Keyshawn? What do you mean? That's why it's a Coke promotion, because the PBC cannot pay him. Matter of fact, I'm glad the link's there. Please hit the link and explain your side of these conversations, because I would love to hear from you for once, and not see what you're writing and hear what your thought process is. And please defend some of the arguments you have, because it's always uh plus plus plus, but negative negative negative, instead of being open minded to the things. No one's just discrediting anything you ever think.
There's a link, by the way. Go ahead. Sorry.
A lot of times you want to discredit what we say, and then we've been proven right. We've been proven to be correct. We're not sitting here saying we said this 3 months ago. We're not sitting here saying, oh yeah, we the best. This is the reason why this is happening, because we predicted it. And you know what I mean? My Raymond Damas talks is over the airways, and you know what I mean, and it strikes again and all this stuff. We're not doing that, bro. We just basically coming to situations that are being pointed out. We're seeing how things are moving. We're putting the situations together. Me and him have conversations every single day, and when me and Clay talk, we talk boxing and we talk about certain situations, and then we come to conclusions like, yo, this is crazy. And then guess what? We get a little hint of news here and a little hint of news there. And then we're like, yo, it's actually on the money. Like, yo, we're 100% accurate on what we're talking about. And then we wait for it to actually be released.
Before we even really speak on it, right? We wait for, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? Or we'll do it right before it's released, because we'll have some speculations based on it. And it comes out to be true. It's not us playing games and sitting here claiming to be psychics and into the boxing game and predicting the way the world is going in boxing. No, but at the same time, we're not going to sit there and say that the PBC is going to go into their pockets, and the reason why they're co-promoting this fight is because they know for a fact that they cannot afford to pay Hunter Young, my buddy Al Heyman in the building. Salute. No. The Bud era, Ray Davis ducks nobody. Okay, Al Heyman, you right about that. That's funny.
Well, hold on, Ray. Let me bring in Echo, man. Salute, Echo. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We doing great, man. Good to see you, man. Look like you in good spirits, good health. Everything going good over there on the other
side?
I'm
really good. I'm good.
All right. Whatever happened with that tooth? Did we get that squared away? We on point now?
Yeah. I did. Yeah.
So we back to the steak and ice cream for dessert, and you know what I mean? Still doing our thing now.
And the hot tea.
And the hot, exactly. We're back to the normal scheduled program. That's a good thing. That's a good
thing. Yeah.
Man, we haven't talked in a while, man. I don't even know when the last time we talked, what was happening, what we were going into. Was it the fights for the weekend? Was it the fight? Was it before the fights we were talking about? Or was it Hitchens and Liam? We didn't talk about Hitchinson and Liam.
It was Liam Parrow and Hitchens the last time I saw you. Yeah.
Right. And we didn't. That was before the fight. So the fight's gone past.
Yeah.
What do you say? I think you thought Liam was going to do it. So what do you think it went wrong with Liam Parrow? What do you think it went wrong? What happened in that fight? Were you in agreement with the decision?
Yeah.
I mean, what'd you think about the fight?
It was Hitchens fought well, and he deserved the win for sure. I thought Liam looked a bit flat. He looked overtrained. He didn't look like he was solid. He looked smaller as well.
Definitely.
That could be down to a lot of things, that can be, but he didn't look the same as he did against Matisse. He didn't look the same strength. He didn't look as strong.
Yeah. It looked like Hitchens it looked like Hitchens had a good weight cut. It looked like he had a good weight cut. He figured it out. Him and his nutritionist. It looked like he did well there. So he wasn't going to be chinny. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have a bad weight cut. He was also motivated the way I thought he'd be because of the last performance he had at Gustavo's. I thought he'd come in motivated and really have a chip on the shoulder a little bit, want to prove something. That made a difference. I thought Liam was smaller. Liam was real bouncy, you know, seemed hesitant to commit to certain shots, seemed to be trying to get Hitchens to bite onto something, and it didn't look like Hitchens was biting for him. So it kind of made him, like, dare I say, a little nervous, a little reserved on letting his shots go, because what he was expecting Hitchens to do, I don't think Hitchens cooperated, and he had to kind of go to a B plan, and ended up in a boxing match with what I think was the better boxer in Hitchens. I think Hitchens was the better boxer, and I think Liam didn't get Hitchens to fight as much as he wanted him to get him to fight. which is where he was going to shine at. Because Liam is a good boxer, but I just think Hitchinson is the better boxer. And I think the more the fight stayed a boxing match, the more it was going to go towards Hitchens. And the more Liam was able to pull him out of that, move him around and put the pressure on him and force him into a fight, the better chance Liam had. So, that's what I kind of saw. But I also noticed the size difference immediately, even at the face-off. But in the ring, it was definitely a huge size difference. Liam was a smaller fighter for sure.
I mean, the key to getting ready for the fight, especially with a weight cut, is to be on schedule before you even start your training for the fight. Because if you're, I don't know, 3 stone heavier than you should be, or 2 stone, what are you going to do? You're going to fat camp or water, get rid of all that water. Right. And most people don't do that very well, because once you've built up that water and that fat, you're so used to eating the foods that keep you at that. And to cut them out, you're going to cut out the carbohydrates and everything else. That's not going to give the energy to train and do the 8-mile runs and 5-mile runs or whatever you're going to do, and the 12 round sparring now and again that you're going to do.
Right.
And this is why a lot of the boxers get it wrong. They don't manage their weight.
Right.
And this is the big problem with a lot of boxers today. I've seen it. When they've got to lose, like, I don't know, 21 pounds, in 1 month. Right. And they've already lost weight up until that point.
Right.
Whether it's water, you know what, Clay, whether it's water or fat, it doesn't matter, because you're still carrying the weight.
Exactly.
And each percent of body weight you have above what you should have, that will slow you down 1%. That will decrease your aerobic threshold.
Right.
So when guys go in the ring 18 pound heavier, right, say they're 10% heavier, okay, on the rehydration, that would mean their aerobic threshold is 10% less.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Because you can't flex water and you can't flex fat. There's no point having that extra weight. It doesn't really do much, to be honest.
It just becomes,
but it only helps you if you've had a bad cut and then you rehydrate, because then you've not got the water. But if you do that wrong, the brain will hydrate last. And this is the biggest problem for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think that was a big problem I'm telling you, I always bring that up with Devin and Ryan. I think that was a big problem for Devin. I think he had a bad cut, and I think he rehydrated in a bad way. He became very punchy in that ring. Very punchy. But I mean, it is what it is. It's up to these guys. Did you get a chance to put your eyes on the Jalil Hackett situation?
I did. He won that fight easily.
Yeah, he definitely won that fight. He definitely
fought well. He actually fought very well, I thought.
Yeah. I think he did what he does. I don't know. People have talked about how special of a fighter he is, whether he is or he isn't. I haven't seen the special thing about him yet, where I would use that word special. He's young. I do think he's a great fighter. I think he's a champion in the making. I could see him being a champion at some point and somewhere, getting a belt.
He's 22. He's 22. He's 22.
20, yeah, something, maybe even younger.
22, yeah.
He's young. He's really young. He's a damn near child. Like, he's still living.
He had a bad decision. He come back from that.
Yeah. So did you hear the rumors about the weight cut and things of that nature with Jalil?
I heard about that, yeah, because they were saying that he might have to pace himself. I remember listening to Sergio Moro say that. And that makes sense. If you've had a bad weight cut, you're not just going to go blazing out and throw 1,000 punches, in the fight. So, right. But he did throw a lot of punches.
I'm about to say he was aggressive. He threw a lot of punches.
Yeah, and he worked the body very well.
Right. So I mean, I don't know, man. He's me and Ray have talked about it. He is a big fighter. You know what I mean? He cuts a lot of weight to be in that 147-pound weight class. He does, man. You could see it. If you looked at him at the press conference with him and Pete Dobson when they were fighting that last fight he had, he literally had like white stuff around his mouth. His eyes were sunken in. He had the sunglasses on. Yeah, exactly. So he has hard weight cuts. I'm not going to say he struggles, because maybe he doesn't struggle. Maybe he has a system that works and it's dependable and is working out for him. But he's a young guy. growing up, he's going to have these growth spurts. You know what I'm saying? He's going to have them. Well, I mean, honestly, do you know about those growth spurts? Like, is he going to have many more of them, or is he pretty much?
Oh yeah, he will. Yeah, he will have more for sure.
Exactly.
And then every so many years, your metabolism slows down slightly as well. So it's naturally does that. So, but the thing is, when it comes to the water weight, a lot of they've got to get it right, because if they don't get it right, all they're just doing is dehydrating themselves and trying to train and get fitter by losing water, which is that's why if you're training, you've got to hydrate.
Right.
You have to hydrate. If you're wearing, sweatsuits and things like that, running 8 miles and things like that, that's not a good thing. I mean, look, I heard that Errol Spence was running up mountains 1 week before the fight. I mean, that's just not going to help. You should be probably cutting back on your training maybe at least a week before the fight, or 10 days even, and slowly cutting down.
Yeah. Guys, hold on a second. We got 53 people in the building. Shout out to everybody that is here. Appreciate you guys, man. Please take your time to go ahead and step out and hit that like button. Let's get the likes up on the channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please take an opportunity to do that as well. But at a minimum, let's get the likes up, guys. We got 53 people in the building. I appreciate everybody here. Sorry about that, Echo.
That's okay. I heard that Tio wants to fight Boots. I mean, the only reason he'll probably get that because he's a champion. But really, I mean, people are saying that Boots is ducking Virgil Ortiz, but how can you duck somebody if you're not in their weight class? That's just stupid.
Well, Virgil left there.
Virgil went to 154 first.
Right.
So how could Boots be ducking him?
I see you, Free Smoke.
Yeah, it's they use the word so loosely today. We're hearing it everywhere for everything, man. You know what I mean? If you take coffee, if you take the hot chocolate and you pass on the coffee today, you duck the coffee. You know what I'm saying? Everything is a duck situation. Without a dime in agreement with you. Why is he a duck? No way he's a duck. I think I'm be real with you, Echo. I think it's more of a frustration, and sometimes as fans we don't know how to deal with no. And Boots is saying no right now. He's saying, I don't have to do that. I want to unify my division. This is where I want to be at. And we're reacting to the no with duck talk, right? It's like when you were younger and there might have been a girl, you know what I mean, that you said was cute at one point in time, and your friend's like, well, then go talk to her. Well, I didn't say I want to go talk to her. I'm just acknowledging that she looks good, man. Man, you just scared to go talk to her. Like, yo, bro, you're doing the most right now. It's not that serious. I didn't say I was going to go marry her. I just gave her a compliment, and you guys are turning this into I have to go over there to prove to you guys something and go talk to this girl. And I don't need to do that because that's not my game plan, especially with, how about this? I got another girl that I'm actually trying to talk to. You know what I'm saying? I had a whole nother girl that I want to talk to. I'm not going to talk to her. Yeah, you're ducking her. You're scared of her. That's why you won't say anything. It's the same situation where Boots is like, I'm not scared of Virgil. I think Virgil would be a great fight. I would love to fight Virgil, but I'm not going to leave my division until I accomplish something I want to accomplish in my division, which is beating the champion. And it would involve me leaving my division. And no, I don't want to go up there and then cut weight and cut back down. I don't want to do that either. You know
that would be a good thing, not especially later on. Because how old is he? 30?
He's 30 years old, right?
Well, yeah,
no, he's 27. He's 27. He's 27, right? I think he's 27, 28 years old, right? Boots.
Yeah, but he's near 30, isn't it? That's what I'm trying to say. Gets harder then. Gets harder. Yeah. That's what Rascott said. You're not the same when you're 22, 21.
Oh!
Keeping the weight off.
Hold on a second. Now. What's good, family?
What's good with you?
Man, I'm doing good,
what's
man.
up, Terrell?
What's good, man?
Long time, brother. Long time.
You ain't never come on my channel, so man, let me chill out. What's good? What's on your mind, man?
Yo, I watch a lot of times. I can't talk though.
No, look, I don't expect that from you, Mel. I already know what it is, bro. I appreciate you here though for sure. We talking about Boots, so I know you up in here to shed some light. By the way, I'm gonna ask you some. You about to get interviewed damn near too. So you messed up.
Damn.
But you messed up. We already know you the only access we got to what's going on in Philly. Ain't no way the hell you coming over here and getting away with no. So you messed up and hit the link. I appreciate you being here. But at the same time, I appreciate what you're doing with Boots right now as far as he's talking more, man. And your You're getting him to speak a little bit more for himself because the narratives get pushed out here and he doesn't respond. And I know, he's not the social media guy, but you're doing a great job, like kind of like getting him to speak a little bit more how he feels and what he wants to do so that the space knows what's going on,
I appreciate that love, man. He's had a rough month as far as like media wise. This shit is crazy. Like November wasn't good for him at all.
It was hard for him, bro. And listen, I'm a big Boots fan. I was sitting here like, and it's so messed up. Why I say every time I talk about Boots, I'm always talking about him going to 154, like for the past 8 months, right? But not for nothing. Just I want to see him in the Hornets' nest. I'm saying I want to see him with those big fights, and now he has an opportunity to potentially unify in his division. And I'm sitting here like, yo, man, if that's what he wants to do, then this is the opportunity. He's been all this time that he's been there trying to get these opportunities, and they weren't there because these champions were ducking him and playing games with him. Now they're there, and now the pressure's on him to leave, right? And what is he supposed to do? What is he supposed to do? You know what I'm saying?
Yo, my perspective is actually like I try to listen to the fans because, of course, the fans are the consumer. But the reality is fans are irrealistic, right? They do a lot of picking and choosing because at one, you criticize Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence for not doing the unification undisputed fight for years. That was the criticism. You criticize Gervonta Davis for not unifying with Berenchik, Vasil Lomachenko, Shakur, right? For years, you criticize him for not unifying with the other champs. And now you got a dude that's trying to unify with the other champs. And no, you got to move up. No, those are C and D level fighters. But meanwhile, these are the same people that wanted to see Stanionis versus Virgil Ortiz, but you don't want to see Stanionis versus Boots. But you want to see Boots versus Virgil. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm
right,
confused.
Man. You're right.
I agree with that 100%.
I said if Jaron were to be at 150, Jaron's mentality is not a mentality that's across the boxing space when you talk about the higher level fighters, right? A lot of these fighters are more money focused, and there's not many fighters who are very legacy driven the way Jaron is, and the way I feel Terrence is, and the way Errol was at a minimum, but maybe still is. Those fighters are far in between. And what ends up happening is, and I said it earlier, if Jaron was at 154, he'd be one of the most favorite fighters at 154 because he's all about legacy, right? Like, he's going to go after the champions. He's going to go after unification. He's going after those things that are going to be in the books when they talk about him after his time has passed. But he's doing it at 147 right now. And what happened is, I'm gonna be real with you. What I think happened is everybody's mouth started salivating when they thought about him and Virgil fight at 154, because deep in everybody's heart, bro, in boxing right now, they want to see Jaron Boots at 154. They want to see him there, bro. They want to see him in the same division as Terrence. They want to see him in there with Tim Tszyu. They want to see him in there with Virgil. They want to see him in there with Serhai. They want to see him with the murder Zalielov in background. You know what I'm saying? They want to see him in this division, because in many ways it looks like legacy escaped Jaron when Terrence and Errol left. When they did their little fight and then left, it was like he was right there in the conversation, and now they left, and it looked like it missed him, and everybody sees it as an opportunity to double back and get those fights if he goes to 154. But the patience has got to be there. You got to respect somebody who's committed enough to legacy to want to go ahead and unify. You got to respect somebody who acknowledges that him getting upgraded to a champion is not enough for him, that the need to actually beat a champion, that he holds himself to that criteria. You should be able to respect that. You know what I mean? But we're in the family. We're all about instant gratification now. So it is what it is.
And not to mention, Clay, and salute, Jay. Listen, a lot of people are really basing everything on what Bozy says. Bozy and Boots are not in the same room all the time. So when Bozy is speaking to the media, he's speaking on his opinion. When Boots is dealing with business, he's dealing with business. So we're looking at it from the point of view of what Bozy is putting out there in the media and taking that as what Boots is claiming or Boots is saying behind the scenes. We don't know what's going on. All we know is we see Bozy on this side of the street. He may be at the gym. Boots may be somewhere else, or he may be in the gym. You know what I mean? But he may be doing something with business or his manager. We don't know what's going on, but all we do is continuously hear, oh, Boots said this, and Boots went this route, and this and that, right? And Clay, I don't know if YSM or Echo even heard me. I made the comparison yesterday to Boots and Earl at the same, like, kind of during the same timeline, right? How Earl won the IBF, he was the boogeyman for so long, nobody wanted to fight him. He didn't get an opportunity for the second strap until right before, obviously, the car crash after the Mikey Garcia fight when he fought a smaller fighter, which we got that called him out, by the way, right? And now we got Teofimo calling him out. It's like I said, it's like the whole world is revolving. It's like history's repeating itself, and we don't even realize that. But yet everyone's so quick to criticize. And they were also shooting down Earl Spence at that point because, remember, Erickson Lubin was calling Earl out, and he didn't move to 154 at the think he said he think he can beat Erickson Lubin. But he didn't want to jump the gun to move to 154. He wanted to stay there, unify. When he got to the point where he wanted to chase those belts, and he was getting frustrated that Keith Thurman wasn't giving him those fights. And then when he got the opportunity to go after the belts, he took the car, as you would say. I don't even want to say this, but he got on his bike and he pedaled faster. And he made it across those lines to get to those points to make those unification fights. Even though they believed that he stayed too long, he still stuck to his goal. And there's nothing wrong with Boots doing the same thing and sticking to his goal. If that's what he wants to do, let that man do what he wants to do. I and you, Clay, we are both been on record, if not the first two people ever on this space to say that we want to see Boots moving to 154, and we think it's a better opportunity for him. This is before everybody thought we were crazy, and then all you do is see echoes. We see echo chambers of us saying this in all these other pages and all these other chats, and people are saying this, and then we get to the point where it's now we're understanding what's going on. We understand that it is a decision, it's a team decision, and people have expectations for themselves. It's not what the fans want all the time. It's what we have lined up in front of us and how we want to pursue it. And that's where I think it comes down to, and a lot of people are misunderstanding. So to call a man a duck because he's living out his dream is just crazy. And like I always said, if you're going to call him a duck to moving to 154 to fight Virgil, what do you think those other four fighters that are sitting there that's been calling him out the last couple months are going to say to Boots when he moves to 154 and not fight them? You don't think they're going to call him a duck and y'all going to be like, yeah, he ran from this guy, he ran from that guy, he ran from this guy. They're going to say he ran from them. So either way, he can't win. I'd rather be a duck for one person than four. So you can call it as y'all want it. And I'm telling you,
the boxing space is right. Let me ask you a question, real quick, not to cut you off, but YSM, what do you say to this statement right here? Because I've answered this question so many times, but I'm interested in getting your perspective on what I have on the screen right here.
What did Boots not bring up 154? Yeah, he mentioned. He said it might be time, might be. Right? He never said that he was going to do that. That's exactly what he was going to do. Right. And did he not promise Turkey the Virgil fight? According to him, no. And according to Turkey, he never spoke to Boots. Those were Turkey words. Those were Boots words. So how can somebody promise you a fight that you never spoke to directly?
Exactly.
And what people don't understand is that there's a lot of miscommunication that goes on in boxing, and you got to do like Turkey that's trying to make the biggest and best fights possible. But people got to understand February 22nd was not Boots' date. He wanted Crawford and Virgil originally. As a matter of fact, Virgil was supposed to return December 21st against Madrimov, but it wasn't enough time. He felt like it wasn't enough time to get ready. So then he jumped on the February 22nd date. But Clay, if I'm not mistaken, from August, when did Virgil fight? August 10th, August 9th?
Yeah, it was. I'll tell you right now.
From that to December 22nd, isn't that 3 months?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then they wanted Boots to make a 3-month turnaround, but it wasn't enough time for Virgil, but it was enough time for Boots to move up in weight. Nobody finds that odd? That's hypocrisy to me. You push back because you felt like you weren't ready, but then everybody's trying to force a guy to come back in his third fight in 7 months. That would have been his third fight, 7 months, and then moving up in weight, and then going to Saudi Arabia. So I just feel like it's so much picking and choosing in boxing that we just gotta, as fans, media, we have to step back and think about put yourself in everybody's shoes, right? What is everybody trying to do and accomplish?
Right. Yeah. I was saying that a little bit earlier as well, to say that I know it's not our problem. That some fans were like, "That's not my problem. It's my job to ask for the fight." That. You know what I'm saying? Which I hear, but if you're really sitting here trying to, if you have the ability to ask a question, then you should be able to factor in the legitimate variables that are going to give you the answer, right? So if you're going to ask why this didn't happen, then you have to acknowledge the intangibles, which is dates, which is personal ambition, which is opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Who is the fighter? Is he a legacy-driven fighter? Is he a money-driven fighter? Where's he at in his career? I happen to think that fighters have chapters in their career. They've got the build up my name part of their career. They've got the legacy part of their career. Then they got the prize fighting part of their career. I happen to think that Tank Davis did the latter first, right? He did the prize fighting early, and now I would like to think that he's more so in the legacy, but he's communicated that he doesn't care about that anyway. But most fighters kind of follow that pattern, and where Boots is at right now is he's in the legacy part of his career. He's trying to make the most out of the best physical version of himself. This is the time in my career to fight the fights that are going to mean something in my legacy, and he's not going to allow that to slip through his fingers and get derailed because of money. He's not going to allow money to derail him from that opportunity right now. 3 to 5 years, he's probably going to be like, look, I don't even want the biggest fights, the biggest money. That's what I'm looking for. If it ain't about that, I don't care. I've done enough. I'm not tripping on my legacy. I want the biggest money. You know what I mean? But right now, that's not what's moving him.
Hey, Clay, quick question, right? I saw a comment. Somebody mentioned, one guy said that I'm a massive fanboy, right?
Let me find him.
I get a lot of criticism, right? And
especially if it comes to Philly.
I'm gonna say this. Is the criticism because I can get a specific interview that other people can't get on a consistent basis? Is that where the criticism comes from?
I promise
I'm in Philadelphia. I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years. I built up a relationship in Philadelphia to where as though I cover them on a consistent basis, whereas though everybody else covers them whenever they feel like, whenever there's a big event. All right. So that is my market. And I also do other events. But where does this like massive fanboy shit come from? Like, I don't get that. Every time I talk, I feel like I'm objective. I never call people bitches, and I'm sorry, Clay, but I never get into that aspect of boxing.
Right.
I never you got guys that like really, really shit on fighters, and that's not what I do. I highlight fighters in my market. If I'm covering an event, I'm highlighting them. I don't get involved in the hate and the vitriol that other channels get involved in, nor do I get involved in the lying and the clickbait. So I don't know where all this criticism from me comes from. I cover amateurs.
Mm-hmm.
Am I a fanboy now?
You know what I assume?
It's when you're celebrating somebody who they want to criticize, you got to be being a fanboy. That's it. It's just that simple, right? When you're celebrating somebody and you're going, no, this person is not that. They're actually this, and they've accomplished this and this and that. And you know, you're just being a fanboy right now. But the bigger question has to be, is what he said incorrect, right? So is what YSM saying a lie or incorrect, or is it just ill-timed because it's going against a narrative that you're presently more focused on pushing rather than talking honestly?
Right.
You know,
does Ellie Setback get that same fanboy tag put on him?
Yeah,
he talks to only certain fighters.
He gets it.
I'm just saying, but from who is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, not the fans that he supports, that support the fighters that he does. Because why? Because he supports the more popular side of the fighters. So because of that, he doesn't get that same settlement that YSM gets. YSM is definitely coordinating something in his base. You know what I mean? He's basically set out to make relationships with people in his area, and he deals with them directly. And he's the voice of Philadelphia. You know what I mean? He's that guy that's actually, he built himself up to that. And instead of respecting a guy who built himself up to that, y'all want to sit there and rain on his parade and sit there and tell him that he's only doing it because he's a fan. Of course he's a fan. But you know what else is bad? He's right there. He has access, and he's giving you live access. And instead of you appreciating it, you want to kick him in the back and stomp him while he's down. That's you know what that is. That's just hate, man. At the end of the day, jealousy and hate.
I appreciate that. Echo, where you from?
UK.
UK, right? So that's like that. It's the equivalent, and I don't want to make this about me, but I'm just talking about the perspective of the fans. It's like the equivalent of being able to be in the gym with early Anthony Joshua. Am I supposed to not film him? Am I supposed to not interview him? Am I supposed to not interview Kell Brook? Am I like? I don't understand, bro.
Or Mel, are you supposed to interview him and then when you leave the gym, kick his back in on social media? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what they want. If you was a real dude, you know what you do? When you were done talking, you keep it real and be like, nah, Cap, that dude is trash. Like, what is he supposed to do? Like, you know what I mean?
I don't criticize. Like, dudes get mad because of what people say on the platform. The reality is, if I was interviewing people at Omaha, they would be talking about how Boots would get his ass whipped by Bud. And guess what? I'm gonna put it up because that's their truth. They're speaking their opinion. I allow people to speak their opinions as long as it's not no race stuff. I'm good on it.
That kind of went left for you a little bit with the whole Brian Norman boosting, right? Like, by the way, congratulations.
Bro.
And when you put that out, that was I thought we had a fight. I was giving you respect already early, like, yo, I said made the fight. They said I thought, the fight almost went away and it looked like the fight was gonna get made, but obviously we could talk about the money and the whether it was a price out or not price out, however anybody wants to look at it. But ultimately, you were able to kind of get to the bottom of that before, you know what I mean? And being that you had that communication with the Norman team, and obviously Boots is right there, and he was able to communicate an offer that was put out there and how the offer went at the time period. You broke that, but I know you had to catch hell because you broke it out on both sides. Like, you got Boots' side, but you also had Brian Norman like completely attacking the whole entire the whole story and the whole narrative, and it was kind of almost for a second that made you look like you were playing both sides. But this was a perfect example of you being the journalist that you are and allowing the information to roll out the way naturally and organically from the people you're talking to from their perspective without including your own personal opinion on it. How did that work out for you? How'd you feel about that?
Well, I tried to do right by both parties, being that at that time I was cool with both sides. And the funny thing is, I didn't even get shit from Boots and them like that side. I ended up getting into an argument with Senior because Senior didn't like my follow-up interviews. He didn't like what people were saying, and then he lashed out and took it out on me. Yo, whatever somebody says is what somebody says, bro. I don't censor his interviews. I'm not going to censor anybody else's. Right? They gave their perspective on the negotiations and what they thought should happen. And that's their perspective. The same way you talking about you gonna knock out Boots and da-da-da. Boots ain't get mad at me for that. And so if people were wondering why me and Brian Norman Sr. had an issue, it's because of that reason. I did an interview with Greg Hackett and Hank Lundy. He didn't like what they had to say. So he took to Facebook, calling me all kinds of names and this and that. And yo, I'm from where I'm from. So my response was what it was.
You responded accordingly. You responded with the energy that was coming at you.
So if everybody thinks it's because of his criticism of Boots, nah, it's not because of that. Because he's supposed to say his son's supposed to win. Nah, it was because he called me out my name, and yeah, it's up from there.
Yeah, no doubt. Let me ask you this though, right? So in that situation, it did seem as if like the fan bases were like the people, like the people in the chats and not the content creators, not the fighters, not the trainers. It did seem like a lot of people kind of felt like, they wanted people to pick sides, right? How were you dealing with that? Like, were the fans putting pressure on you at all to be like, oh man, how you gonna let this dude Brian Norman talk like that on the home team, or were the fans supportive of the journalism that you were providing at the time as well?
You had some ones that don't like they think this is supposed to be this, the channel's supposed to be like this, and it's supposed to be everybody speaking positive. You had a few of them, but honestly, my channel, you're gonna laugh, but my channel is a lot of Terrence Crawford fans.
Church, yeah.
A lot of Terrence Crawford fans, and a lot of Terrence Crawford fans are very critical of Boots, and so they were praising me for being unbiased and bringing him on only to when I had to falling out with him critique me again. So it just comes with it, yeah.
You can't win. You can't win, bro.
Nah, man, I can't win.
I got one question for you.
Go ahead.
This is a little off topic, but you know, I talked to your boy Kev. I'm not going to say his screen name on the record, you know what I mean, but you know who he is. I talk regular, right? And between you, him, and a couple other Philly cats that I got, how y'all feel about this Steel Curtain about to run into that building, man, and make this happen?
Bro, you already know what's about to happen, man. Yo, how many games straight is it? 7? Was it 7 and 8?
We close. We
7 and 8 games. Like, come on, man. It's going to be a good game, but we got the most well-balanced offense.
Oh, okay. Are you sure?
You see it. You got us.
Y'all got the best running attack, I think.
Well, okay. Who got the receivers we got and the running back that we got?
Yeah, but your quarterback ain't really throwing the ball downfield as much with Saquon doing like 260-yard games, bro.
Our quarterback is ass.
Yeah. Philly is in the building, Clay. Look at this.
Our quarterback is ass, but I'm never been a Jalen Hurts guy. I didn't like him in Alabama. I didn't like him in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
But he's getting the job done. As long as we win, he don't have to be one of those guys that puts up 300 yards, 3 TDs. That's just not his skill set.
All right.
But he is a good leader.
So do you think this is the Kenny Pickett return game since we traded him off to Philly? And he get the opportunity to punch Pittsburgh in the face, man? For getting rid of him?
Kenny Pickett ain't getting in the game. So.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, I just know, maybe because you heard Saquon said let the young guys eat, right? So if they do you think they put Kenny Pickett in to get a touchdown or two?
Man, Pittsburgh ain't nobody to be playing with like that.
Okay.
When we up, nah, dog.
I feel the same way about the Eagles, man. I just had to bring that up, though. You know what it is. And Thomas Hill, you out west, man. You're not allowed to be an Eagles fan.
It is what it is. It is. Thomas.
I'm
an Eagles fan, so I ain't gonna hold you. Yeah. Watson was good.
Clay, before I go, all right. So the Teofimo Lopez shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he really wants to unify, and like that's his goal. As far as you talking about him that he's one of those dudes that don't really worry about the money. You're actually correct, right? Where we get a lot of fighters that early on, and of course we see it later on because you're on your way out. You're thinking about your next stage in life and thinking about keeping the level that you're at, like being able to sustain that. So of course you won't think about the bag in your 30s. But you got a lot of fighters now that's thinking about the bag at 20, 21. And I ain't saying anything wrong about that because, bro, securing your future is the most important thing.
Right.
But he is a throwback in the sense of he's about boxing. He feels like the money's going to come. He's about boxing and wanting to accomplish certain things that he set out for when he was a kid. Like that unify shit, bro, he really, really, really wants to do that. He really wants to do that.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up.
And who am I to tell him not to? Like, you got to do what's best for you and your career because at the end of it, you the one that's taking the punches and you the one that's going to have to live with the outcome.
100%. That's a fact, man.
Agreed.
And I respect that about him enough to, as much as, because I'm split. Like I said in the beginning, I was one of the main guys campaigning for him to go to 154. Anytime I got on a live with Greg Hackett or anybody, I don't care. If I thought anybody had a connection with Philly, if I was talking to Coach Rell, I don't care. I always made it a point to be like, so what y'all think about this 154? What's the chance of this 154? I just kind of saw 154 as where I wanted to see him at. But one thing I'm never going to act like, and I only want to see him there because I just think he's such an, I was just talking to Roy Jones yesterday on Blue Blood. I was talking to Roy Jones, and even Roy Jones is acknowledging how much Jaron reminds him of himself. He said that literally yesterday. He was like, Jaron Ennis reminds me of myself. And that's who I see Jaron Ennis as in many ways. And I just want to see him tested. And I want to see him to show the world until he does it, nobody's going to believe it. But at the same time, the unification, the legacy, I respect it, man. I think that was one of the things I respect about Terrence Crawford the most. I'm a big Terrence Crawford fan, which is crazy, right? That's if I'm a fan of somebody, it's gonna be Terrence Crawford. But I gotta put Jaron Boots Ennis in that same conversation.
Yo,
So
he's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But one of the things that I love about Terrence is how committed he was to unifying and becoming undisputed, and you know what I mean, being a champion. I love that about him, about his character. And Boots has that same character. It's just that he's in a division that, you know, unfortunately, the fan base wants to see him in the next spot. And it looked like it missed him for a while, but we have to acknowledge that he has an opportunity right now to actually do it. And he's going to take that opportunity, and I'm not going to fault him for it. I'm going to support him and hope he gets it. But I don't want to see him defending against mandatories, and I don't know how he feels about that. I want to see him in unification title fights. If he can't be in unification title fights, I hope he's taking that into consideration to move up to 154, because it's a waste of his time right now. If he's not fighting a champion, or I guess a Teofimo Lopez, you know what I mean, a money fight that's going to kind of raise his market value a little bit. I want to see him at 154, and I hope he's thinking the same. You know,
I think we're going to know soon exactly what the future holds. Probably within like the next month or so. But the TO fight, you're going to get criticism either way, because people always wanted to see Virgil, and the reality is Virgil didn't leave 54. He was forced out of 47. He didn't leave to go to 54. You know what I'm saying? Where people want to make it seem like dudes jumped up. Terrence Crawford jumped up because he accomplished everything that he wanted to accomplish. But Virgil Ortiz, health-wise, was forced out 147 pounds. Otherwise, he would still be there.
Right.
And Boots can still make 47. And he actually comes in like what? What he came in, 146?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he can still make it. If Virgil was down there, I'm pretty sure he would be trying to secure the big fights. And when Boots gets up to 54, that's a fight that we can look forward to if Virgil and them still want to do it. Because I heard Rick Meridian kind of saying, "Oh, we would never, you know, we would never entertain a fight with Jaron in this," but realizing they the person that kept staying on us out the ring for damn near 2 years.
Right.
But we like, we gonna talk about that, or we gonna talk about you like y'all fucking him over and him having to move back in with his parents? We gonna have that conversation, like, because like, like, come on, man.
You ain't lying, man. You ain't lying, man. Yeah, man. I agree with you, man. Like, we'll see how it plays out. I think ultimately, as time goes by, people will look back and realize that all these moves were the best moves. That these are going to be the reasons why Boots is celebrated the most when he gets towards that undisputed. Because I don't know if I believe he's going to do undisputed at 147. I just don't think there's enough cooperation in that division for me to think that he's going to get that. But I think he will get unifications, and I think he's going to fight Brian Norman. That's what I believe. I don't know. You know, we'll see how time plays out, and I think the Stanionis fight might happen as well. We never know. Maybe he does get undisputed. Eddie's a chess player. You know what I'm saying? Let me ask you this, YSM. How is Boots okay? I don't know. You know, I told you I'm going to ask you the hard damn question, so you just let me know if you're not going to answer it. It's all good. But I'm going to ask you. Is Boots okay with his current situation with Matchroom? Is he happy with the way things are moving? Is he I know there's pressure and all this stuff is happening, but I think it's good problems that Boots has, personally. I think activity problems, having problems on who to fight, where to go when you got so many people who want you to go in different directions is good problems. But how does he feel about the current situation? Is this Matchroom thing working out the way he wanted it to? I mean, he has his own promotional company. He's bringing up his own fighters. He's headlined 2 cards at Wells Fargo. You know what I mean? He's done so much since he's been over there with Matchroom. But how does he feel about the progression of the whole situation?
Honestly, I don't know. I've never asked him that. You know, from the outside looking in, you know, from my perspective, you know, you had some pluses and very few minuses, like the situation that just happened. That was kind of like a PR nightmare.
Right.
But Eddie's done half of what he said he was going to do. And now you have to see if he'll, you know, come through with the big fight. But he's got him hometown fights. He's the only fighter to ever fight in Wells Fargo. And he's kept him active. So, and when you look at it from that scope, he's done a good job. It's only one last domino that has to fall, and a big unification fight.
Yep.
Right. I agree.
Yep.
I agree. Do you think
Well,
do you think that a big unification fight happening on the back end of that? I'm not sure Boots' deal. I don't know if you care to put some light on. Is it a 3-fight deal? Was it a 4-fight deal? What was the deal? In being that this looks like it's going to be his 3rd fight on his deal, I feel like it's coming to an end as far as the amount of fights that he agreed to. Are we looking at Boots to move on to greener pastures probably, or at this point is he comfortable enough where he's at to where you could see him staying where he's at?
I'm not sure like the details of like the contract or something like that. I know it's not like a really long term to my knowledge, but it's not something like that you discuss with a fighter. Like, hey, how long is your contract? You know what I mean? Or what's the details? But yeah, I'm not sure how long it's going to be, and I could see him staying. I could see him. Yeah, I can see Boots staying with Matchroom. I can see that, but this is boxing though, right? You never know what the next 6 months will hold. Things change. Like everybody that's with Top Rank right now, they're about to lose their ESPN deal. Where do they land? So it's like you can see Keyshawn staying, but you also know that if better opportunities present themselves, you could also see a fighter going.
No doubt.
It really is all dependent upon the market and what the market says you should do.
Yeah. Salute to Rich Parko for the $2 holla in the building. How about Boots versus Ben in the UK?
That's a fight I've always wanted, but I don't think that happens until 54.
Yeah, I think that's around the corner. I think that might be happening sooner. I think Eddie's putting that into play on the other end with Conor Benn, make that unification maybe for that 3rd belt. If obviously Barrios looks very beatable. Ben is a high power puncher. Like he throws a lot of shots and he has a lot of power when he throws those that arsenal. I think that's definitely something that can be more on the front end, more less towards the back end of him going to 54. I think that's 147. I think definitely we're going to see a unification out of these two.
I'm not sure that the kid is going to be around long enough for that to happen. Like everything's about schedules, and if he can't get a unification, I don't know, man. Maybe y'all get your wish. You know what I mean?
So you're saying like he's definitely on that same thing I was saying earlier as far as barbecue or mildew. Like it's either unification or nothing. It's either I'm unifying and I'm here, or unification is not available and I'm out of here. He's not going to do not one more damn fight outside of a unification at 147.
Look, the only reason why he's still at 147 pounds is him wanting to unify. Otherwise, people would have gotten their 154 wish. I mean, he's on record saying that.
Right.
But if nothing of note is available at 54, then I don't know. Maybe he looks at T.O., maybe he doesn't. I just know for certain, right? 100% he wants to unify and doesn't really care which one it is. Whoever steps up, he'll be happy with that fight.
Right.
But wait, hold on 1 second, right? So he wants to unify. So after he unifies, he'll be pushing to go to 154, or will he push the unifications as long as unifications are available? In other words, if he does this next fight and he unifies, and then another unification becomes available, and another, will he stay as long as that's available, as long as that train is moving in that direction, or is he pretty much just trying to check a box right now, be the champion, but he really has more, but he's really motivated to move to 154?
I think that's really going to be dependent upon how his body feels. If his body still feels good, a lot of people don't realize is that people that fight in the IBF are handicapped.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Right? People don't realize with the rehydration clause.
Right.
And when you unify, you don't have a rehydration clause anymore. So if he unifies and not have to deal with that rehydration clause, maybe he can stretch it out. But if you're not getting those unifications and constantly having to deal with, that next day with watching what you eat and all that. And that's every fighter. I've heard Richardson Hitchings complain about it. And that's one of the reasons why he was unsure about staying with the IBF. So I think everything will be predicated about how his body feels, how quick the turnaround could be. Because if you can get another unification in quickly, yeah, that might be something that he definitely looks at. And if his body feels great and he feels strong, then yeah, I can see him trying to run the table. But we all know fighters, you wake up that day, you might not feel zestfully. And then you might think like, yo, it's that time. Like, I'm out.
Right. So my question is, how do you feel about other artists complaining that he offered, which I don't know if it was a real offer or not, about Conway at 54 and not accepting the Virgil fight and that being a duck? How do you feel that people saying that in their spaces or in the internet space? How do you think that plays out when you're in?
What dudes got to understand is that you have Eddie Hearn, right? Eddie Hearn is going to make certain moves in regards to what he feels though is best, right? Okay. So him having negotiations with Charles Conwell, Boots didn't want to fight Karen. And once the unifications fell through, he took a hard look at 154 pounds.
Okay, fair enough.
And he decided yet again, like, yo, I still want to unify. Let me just go ahead and take this Karen fight because it gives me the opportunity to keep my belt that could potentially have me unify, and it keeps me active. But it's not like Boots, singled out like, yo, Charles Conwell.
Mm-hmm.
The Matchroom is doing their due diligence. Right. We're trying to secure him a big fight. But everything comes back to the kids want to unify. Right. Everything circles back to that.
Right. Glad that's answered. I'm glad that's answered because I was tired of hearing that nonsense. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah. No, that's interesting that he would consider. So, I mean, what I'm hearing is that Boots is, he's getting to that point to where the weight cuts are. There is a sacrifice in there. At one point it was like it wasn't a sacrifice. He just did it easily. But he is getting to that point to where now he wants to make the weight cuts matter. Like if I'm gonna do this extreme weight cut, there's got to be this certain reward on the table. It's not just going to be for anybody. I'm not just fighting anybody anymore at 147.
Yeah, bro, he can fight anybody at 54.
Right, exactly. You're right, man. You're right, man. I that's what I felt like that. I've said it before. I don't know if you watched. This is what I've been speaking for weeks now, just saying like, listen, man, that rehydration clause is a big deal. Him fighting against Karen, that rehydration clause, I don't care, bro. You can, it's something to have to be 10 pounds the morning of the fight. It's just a pain in the behind. And even though he's doing it and he's professional and he's disciplined about it, it's still a sacrifice to do it. And what am I doing it for is going to start coming up in the conversation. At some point, it's going to become, why am I doing this to myself? If it's not for the right reason, then you know what? I can be comfortable at 154, just making my weight cut, and I can, the activity, the money, the legacy, everything is there waiting on me. The paydays is waiting on me. I don't need to be down here unless it's for this purpose that I'm trying to serve right now. But undisputed isn't the ultimate reward for him right now at 147 as much as a unification is concerned. But after that, he'll start taking into consideration how these weight cuts are feeling. He might just get this one unification title fight and decide to go ahead and move to 154.
Could I ask another question on that? Because I think what he said earlier to that, Clay, was that if he get unification, he doesn't have to make that weight cut anymore, that 10-pound rehydration. So he can actually, rehydrate to where he wants to once he unifies. But my question is to both of you, actually, this actually explains why Tio sees blood in the water, because that 10-pound rehydration clause.
100%.
And it's glad to say that I'm glad to say that that he put perspective on that, because when we see the opportunity there, it becomes a name in a hat for Boots, but also a risk. And that's why I say a high risk, low reward fight for him to take a Tio fight. Yeah, he probably easily washes Tio any day of the week, but with the opportunity of that rehydration clause and that holding him back, that actually gives a little bit slight advantage to a Teofimo Lopez if Boots is saying that it's a little issue. Because sometimes you reveal your cards publicly, and I don't think he did it in the sense that he said everything, but I think a lot of people could take that consideration if they see it.
Yeah. I was saying that a little bit earlier. I did earlier on this video. I was saying that Teofimo's taking these things into consideration. His team is. They're not stupid. They understand what they're looking at. They wouldn't have necessarily said this before. They're saying it now because they understand there's a rehydration clause. They see Boots had a what they would consider a poor performance against Karen. They see Boots accrediting the weight cut to potentially as to why he wasn't as exciting as he could be, and they see an opportunity to take advantage of that, without a doubt. You know what I mean? And this is the difference between Boots and Brian Norman, for example, where Brian Norman was on the table as well, but I think they took that into consideration, like, yo, bro, Brian Norman gonna be a big dude. He's gonna be really strong at 147, whereas Boots has his rehydration clause. He might be the one. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why he wouldn't, because of the unification.
Unifications, there will be no rehydration clauses. It's one of the reasons why Earl didn't. It never really became an issue with Earl because he unified so quickly.
Yeah, no, and I was talking about Teofimo fighting Brian Norman.
Oh yeah,
in reference to him fighting Brian Norman versus.
I think it's honestly about money. I think Tio is looking for a really big money fight, but the reality is he's barking up the wrong tree, bro. What Jay said, a tree will fall on you.
Yeah, Juan, ain't nobody sleeping on Tio, but we just keeping it 100, man. All these things are factors, man. Rehydration clause, weight, money, timing, the right performance coming, momentum. All these things get factored into like the ultimate matchmakers making these fights. They take all these things in consideration. They know what they're doing when they're doing it, man. Every little piece counts, man. It's not sleeping on Tio and saying he needs these things, but these things help, and help is a good thing when you're trying to get something accomplished. I don't care who you are.
Juan is a fan, and I get that. I see Juan in my comments, and Juan always hates on Booze. But Juan, here's the reality. Here's the truth, right? If Boots were to go face Virgil, right, at 154 pounds, the first thing people are going to say is, "Oh, Virgil looked like shit in his last fight. He lost that fight." If Boots were to go knock Tio to the moon, because that's exactly what happened, people is going to say, "Oh yeah, he didn't want no unification. He just wanted to bring a 140 up. He didn't want to fight Virgil, a dude his own size." It's a lose-lose situation. The reality is, Teofimo Lopez showed dynamite punching power in very, 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 I ain't even gonna call it Tio elusive, just explosiveness at 135 pounds, but you haven't seen that at 40. I don't know if that's the weight cut or he's just in there with guys his own size. But in no world, no shape, way, or form, like, I don't give a fuck if you gave him Eddie Reynoso pack, the Captain America Super Soldier Serum. Boots cleans him up, like clears Tio off the face of the earth. Like, I mean, beats the ever-loving dog shit out of Teofimo Lopez. Size is real in boxing. And then if you mix size, skill, athleticism up, this is what you have.
You got Jaron in it. Let me bring in Thomas Hill, by the way. He's been sitting here quietly for at least 10 minutes now. Salute, Thomas. What's good, family? What's on your mind, man? I know you wanted to add. You wanted to contribute.
Well, I don't get no fireworks neither. YSMC. That's why you the man, man. When you came in, they let off all kinds of sound.
This is like my first time on.
Hold on, my bad. You're right. Let me bring in Thomas Hill, man.
I feel appreciated, man. Thank you, my good brother Clay. Shout out to my good brother Ray. Shout out to Echo, the boxing expert from the UK, and shout out to my man YSM, bro. I feel you, man. I too was looking for that Rolex, man. Did you ever get that Rolex?
Rolex?
On your interview with your boy Espinoza.
Oh, no. That wasn't me. That was one of my correspondents, Hines.
Oh, that was your correspondent. My bad.
Yeah, that was Hines. I don't know, y'all probably recognize Hines from Fight Hype.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, man. My bad. I
I
really
hope he
wanted
got
to
that
ask
Rolex.
this. Yeah, real talk. I really wanted to ask, man, because like as Clay alluded to, man, cutting that weight, it might be more of a sacrifice now than it was like something that was easily done. I mean, Boot's a big dude, bro. There's no slicing it. He's a big guy for that division, and I know he's young, but he is also growing, man. Does it show as it started to show on certain other fighters that was cutting weight, man? Because honestly, man, it looks. I know you're not too close with my man Hackett, but my man Hackett on the one fight with Dobson, man, he looked like he had cut a lot of weight, man. You could start seeing like his features on his face a little bit more often than you ever could in the other fights, bro. And I know I haven't seen Boots on a weight cut, but I know you're pretty close and familiar with it, man. Is that weight cut starting to really take a toll on him?
No. But Boost makes weight easy. What I brought up the IBF is that that's a handicap that Boots has that none of the division has. And I don't think that gets highlighted enough that always the IBF champion. People complain about Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis rehydration clause. But that's the IBF champion, the people that fight for IBF eliminators. That's their reality every day. And it was a big deal when it was Ryan. Oh man, you weight drain Ryan, but not realizing that Earl had to deal with that. Boots has to deal with that every fight. Now Africa has to deal with that. Who's the IBF champion for 130?
IBF champion at 130 is that Angelo Leo? No, that's 130. 130.
What's the brother?
This is the boy that knocked out Cordino, right?
Yeah.
Kakashi.
Oh, Kakashi, right, Kakashi. Yeah.
He has to deal with that, and that's it's a reality. That's something that's something that hurts them. So whereas though the dude from the WBC, he's eating waffles, he's eating French toast, he probably got 2 orders of bacon and hash browns. Whereas though whoever's in the IBF, they have to be conscious of that. So that was my point. Like, no, he still makes weight. He still makes weight good. It's not like a Jill Hackett situation where you can visibly see it around his mouth. And shouts out to Lil, but yeah, that Pete Dobson shit, that hurt me.
Yeah,
like seeing him
there with the sunglasses on, struggling like that. It was like, damn, man, do you need to be doing this young? Man, bro. I mean,
it didn't look good. And I rock heavy with him, man, because he's a throwback fighter, man. He willing to put it all on the line to get himself out there and establish his greatness in the sport. It just was harsh, man. It was like when I saw the dang first Kambosos fight, man. I couldn't even believe that was Devin, bro. I was looking at him like, what?
Yeah,
this didn't look right, man, because the way his eyes was looking in his cheeks. But yeah, man, I only say that because I think a lot of people take away from the true thing, man. And I've said this even in the first fight. I thought that the man Karen was a skilled fighter, a highly skilled fighter, man, and he knew how to accommodate that ring well. And unfortunately, when you got somebody that knows the ring like that, knows how to move around in it, you got to angle them towards you. And that's the only way you can effectively treat some of that unnecessary movement that other people call was running. You know what I'm saying? It was smart. And in the second fight, man, he took advantage of the opportunities that were available in the first fight, and he engaged. And I think people looked at it a certain way, man. I thought that Boots got a lot of unnecessary flack in that fight, bro. And I thought Kukadajian, or however you say his name, didn't get no respect at all for what he actually brought to the table.
Yeah. I knew Kukadajian was going to come out and try to rep, though, man. I didn't know he was going to be so durable, though, but I knew he understood that the way he fought last time, he could not fight that way this time. He had to know that he got shut out, that the judges don't respect that approach. You're going to have to show something if you want to. And this is for a title, too. I expected him to try to do what he did. I just didn't expect him to be so durable and so effective, you know what I mean, to make it a 12-round fight. I was very impressed by him, man. He's really the truth. He's really the truth.
Yeah, I thought so. And one last question too, man, and I don't mean this as a slight to anybody because I respect the heck out of this dude. But I noticed that certain people have like a resistance against him. And like for the heavyweight division, it was Fury. And if you went against Fury, like the world came at you. And then for Boots' division, it seems to be or was Crawford. Like if you went against Crawford, it seemed like the world went against you, man. And you think a lot of that is the backlash that he wanted to actually get in the ring with Crawford, or is it just that? Because I know a lot of people say that he didn't deserve to be in the ring, and I find it hard to say that anybody does not deserve to be in the ring with another. I think that gets thrown around way too much, and I think it's lame as all get up. Tell you the truth, man. Even when it's for fighters that I even support, I don't never like them throwing that type of stuff up. Like they don't deserve it, especially when the call out is made.
Thomas, I want to tap in and say this, and I'm gonna throw right by what I said because I know that's who the question is directed at. But I think there's without a doubt his name being attached to Terrence Crawford, and I don't think it's about going against Terrence as far as we love Terrence and we're hating on Boots, but I think every fight that Boots that he gets at the end of the fight, there's always going to be a comparison. How does this Boots look against Terrence Crawford? How does this Boots look against Terrence Crawford? And it's a compliment within itself for his name to be in that conversation all the time, but it's also unfair to a large degree because he has his own journey, his own path that he's on, and Terrence has already made it clear that Boots isn't in his in his crosshairs of a fight that he wants to get involved with. So it's not Boots' fault that he can't get this fight with Terrence, or he can't do nothing about it. You would think that you'd want the boxing space to respect it a little bit more and stop connecting them where the champion, the pound for pound best fighter in the world is saying he has to do his own thing. He ain't gonna be doing it with me. But what's happening is people are taking it as, man, who is this kid Jaron Boots Ennis that they think he can fight against Terrence Crawford? Look how he looked against David Avanesian. Look how he looked against Karen Kukadajian and anybody else who he fights. Oh, he's fighting Teofimo. Terrence would have never have done that. He's just always going to catch that. That's part of it, and I think that's a big part of what is also turning into pressure for him to move to 154, because I think a lot of people think when he goes up there to 154 that he's going to get this fight with Terrence, and that's just not necessarily true at all, right? But it is unfair. I think there's an attachment there, and that's definitely part of what we're seeing happening around him right now, in my opinion. I'll pass it off to YSM.
All right. First, he's not getting that fight.
Right.
I stopped doing interviews about it because he's not getting that fight. Right. Once I know this is going to sound little. Once I saw Bud's family taking pictures with Boots and his mom hugging him and this and that, I knew that shit, all right, this shit ain't going to happen. Right. Boxing families do not act like that, y'all. But if you are considered potential opposition, I ain't gonna say they're all like it's beef, but they give like 10 feet of space. Like, nah, you kind of the ops. Like, ain't nothing personal, but you ops. Right. But once I saw that let it be known to me, like, nah, this ain't gonna happen. But I think that Terrence Crawford fans hold a grudge towards Boots because he was calling out Bud. I honestly do. I see it my comment section. Whew. They've held a grudge, and even if that fight isn't happening, no matter what I put up with Boots, it's the same dudes coming up to criticize. The reality is that they didn't like that Terrence Crawford was looked at as the boogeyman. He was the guy that was chasing, but somebody was chasing him, and he was chasing Earl too. I think people kind of forget that, but somebody's chasing him, and they didn't really like the optics of that. And I think that they're going to go forward with disliking Boots. And the funny thing is, Bud don't even feel no kind of way towards Boots.
Crazy.
But they do.
Yeah. And they make it to the point to where they paint the narrative like Boots is constantly calling Terrence out, right? And it's like, I was saying this yesterday, like, I don't remember the last time I heard Boots say Terrence's name in the light of fighting him. He gets confronted with the question, right? He gets confronted with the question anytime there's media after one of the fights. And he makes it clear, like, there's no hesitation. there's no issues. If that fight is going to happen and they send me an offer, I'm going to take the offer. That's a great fight to make happen. But at the same exact time, it doesn't seem like that fight's going to happen. And I actually have aspirations to make my own path, to build my own legacy, and have these fights and unify. The only reason I was after Terrence the time I was because he was holding a belt that I wanted to take off of him. Once that went away, I didn't need to fight him anymore. Bosie's communicated as well, but I think it'll work out for him. I think he has an opportunity to use this intention in a way that's going to actually benefit him in the long run. As long as he continues producing and developing and accomplishing and winning, I think this works out for him in a good way in the coming years. That's what I believe. Because eventually he will check the box.
Hey, yo, can I say this? Can I say this one thing before I go? Yo, yeah. I would love to get him and Roy together. You know? Not just on camera or nothing like that, but for them to have a conversation. Like, if anybody that's listening or anybody on the panel could facilitate that, I would be grateful.
I'm gonna talk to Blue about it because Roy was just talking about him yesterday, and everybody was saying the same thing. And Roy was like, Roy's whole thing is Bosie, right? He's like, I'll never disrespect no trainer. Like, he kind of got a little bit like, I would love, but I could tell you right now, Roy said he would love to speak to Boots. He said that he would love to speak to him because he says, I see what he wants to do. And I see what, I'm saying? I see what he wants to do, but he just don't got the information. Roy feels like he has that information to share with him, that IQ that's going to translate into his, into what he does. And push him over the edge. So he basically sees it. He's like, I see exactly what he's trying to do, and I know he can do it. He said, I feel like I could tell him, but he said at the same time, he would never disrespect Bosie. You know how the trainers are. He didn't even want to talk about it too deeply because Blue blowed it up. I was going to even bring it up, but Blue blowed it up. And he was like, actually, no, it was actually Roy who brought it up, talking about how Jaron reminds him of that. And then Blue brought up, would he ever consider building with Boots, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, he kind of got like, I don't want to offend Bosie, but I know for a fact that can happen. I'm gonna tell Blue about it. I know for a fact.
Yeah, I'm not even looking at it in the training aspect. I would just want him just to talk, like them two should just talk. Like if anybody can relate to him, it would be Roy, your Ray Leonard, your Floyd, like anybody of that ilk. And I'm not disrespecting any other champion or anything like that. I'm just there's a certain type of guy that I feel like is able to communicate to a certain type of guy because they have like certain parallels where like, yo, I see myself in you and I know exactly what you're feeling and I know exactly what you're thinking right now.
I know the kind of fighter that you are. I know the kind of the kind of and Roy and him are similar in that way too, not just stylistically on how they fight, but their mentality about this game. You know what I mean? They really have a very talking to Roy yesterday was very interesting. Very interesting, you know what I'm saying? And I've seen him obviously do multiple interviews and documentaries and stuff like that, but it was definitely interesting speaking to him. Yeah, him and Boots have a lot in common, bro. They do. I'll tell Blue. I don't know if you want to like put it in a private chat, if you want to put a number or some sort of contact information. If you want me to try to connect the dots, I'll make that happen as soon as possible.
Who got my number?
Oh, Blue, boom. Then I'll tell Blue to reach out for sure. For sure. I'll make that happen. I'll tell Blue. Because he got Roy's number like that. They build like that regularly.
Bro, I ain't even gonna lie, man. I'm a Roy Jones. People want to talk about fanboys, bro. I'm a Roy Jones fanboy.
Oh, who you telling? Yesterday talking to him, bro? Bro, I had to give him his flowers early, get it out the way, let him know like you was that dude. I didn't think Roy could be beat. Roy is the reason why I'm not a fanboy no more, right? I was a fanboy of Roy Jones, and I'm saying that to the level when Tarver knocked Roy out, I stayed inside my crib and wouldn't talk to my friends for like about a week. Like I'm telling you, bro, like people will come in my crib, yo, what damn, bro, come on out. Now I'm straight, man. Because I already know y'all gonna try to kick my back in about this, you know what I'm saying? And I don't even want to fight one of y'all my friends, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I just got to get out my feelings, and he made me realize that anybody could lose, bro. And you should always celebrate this game, this sport of boxing, before you celebrate one particular fighter. Because on any given Sunday, you know what I mean? Because it was like watching the trade towers go down, bro. I don't know if y'all remember that feeling when the trade towers went down, when you were just staring at the TV, like, stop playing. What is going on? Like, you feel me, Thomas?
No, I had family that worked up in them buildings, bro. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I know how you feel about. I never felt like that, only with two fighters, because I was too young with Tommy Hearns. But I felt like that with Shane Mosley and with Roy Jones Jr. But I want to ask this question to the panel, bro. Do you believe that loss that they gave him to Griffin started all of this, man? Because he started doing things after that loss that just really wasn't good, man. And it was just because he was so gifted. Man was playing basketball and taking fights in the same night, fighting 2 or 3 times in the same night, man. Then he went all the way up and came all the way back down. Do you think that like ticked him off and went on that route?
I talked to him about that. I actually asked him the question yesterday about I said, what was the difference between pre-Montel Griffin Roy and post-Montel Griffin Roy? And he basically just stated that the difference was my undefeated was taken away from me. And it just put he had to put a new goal. Roy's very goal driven. He was very like, I want to do, he thought about Muhammad Ali a lot. Like that's his favorite fighter. And he thought that was the reason he rapped, because Muhammad Ali always had the slick words. He wanted to do something like Muhammad Ali was the biggest deal to him. And he said, and for him, he's always had goals. He's always had something in the crosshairs for him to reach. And being undefeated was what he was before Montel Griffin, that he wanted to end his career being an undefeated fighter. And when that got taken away from him, he had to change the game up. And I think that's when we started to see him he said, you know what? I'm going to go to heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to work my way up and I'm going to go to heavyweight and I'm going to go get me a belt up there. Nobody's ever done that. No, you know what I mean? He's always been on that. And that's ultimately, I agree with you. I think he would agree too, right? If he was here right now to say, yeah, man, you know, it was about being great, and undefeated was the first goal to being great. And he couldn't do that. So he went to the next thing, which is he started to become more and more extreme with the weights and the competition. And he started trying to accomplish great things. You know what I'm saying? Which to us was a lot of entertainment, because I swear Roy was unbeatable. I thought he was unbeatable, bro. I literally thought he was unbeatable.
I told him to his face, you're the greatest fighter I've ever seen, man. And I stand on that. He's the best fighter I've ever, with my own 2 eyes, he's the best fighter I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree. Salute to Too Rich. I respect the belts in the building. Salute to what's good with you, family?
Man, what's going on, Clay and Ray and panel? I'm listening to the show, man, and I know y'all know my views on a lot of stuff, so we could be honest, right? We could be honest. As far as the boot situation, man, I know it's intricate, but by the letter of the law, it's a duck, man. It's a duck. Now I'm gonna tell you why. Boots had not such a great performance. It was still a unanimous decision. We don't get it twisted, but not such a great performance. And there's an excuse he used. Maybe it's the weight. Maybe it's time for me to move up. So he applied that pressure to himself. You see what I mean? Then Eddie Hearn went on, oh, you can't lose this fight. If we take this fight, whatever the case may be. And then the offer comes, and then you turn it down. So by the letter of the law, that's a duck, but it's only because you applied that pressure to yourself. Now,
did he move on? Did he move up, Rich?
Huh?
I said, did he move on?
No, but I'm saying I'm purely talking about the press conference. And the press conference, he kind of used the weight as an excuse. And so now when people say, okay, you said you was going to move up, and now he offered you to fight, it looks like a duck. But it's a caveat, now, I think he was making an excuse, and I don't think he ever meant that he was going to move up. I just think that was an excuse. Now, should he move up? No. Go undisputed at 147. You see what I mean? I don't think he should move up. I think he should stay at 147 and go for undisputed. You got to think, fate happens in crazy ways sometimes. Maybe this is the fight that bringing them out. Now they're no longer scared to fight him. You see what I mean? Now that even if they're looking at him like he's food, okay, maybe it's something we can exploit, regardless of the matter. Now they're ready to fight. So I think Eddie Hearn might have to put a little top on it. He might have to pay extra to go ahead and make these fights, but he got to go ahead and make these fights so he can go for legacy. And then we got to look at Terrence Crawford. We sent Terrence Crawford to 154 coming off a dominant performance over a top guy. Okay, Boots had a lackluster performance over a guy that, let's be honest, he's still not a top guy. He did good that night, but he's not a top guy. So as a coach, I wouldn't want my fighter to go to a whole other weight class, fight a better fighter, and we're not coming off a dominant win. Or we looking at things, okay, we got some things we need to work on, or whatever the case may be. Now, I favor Boots to go undisputed at 154. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I favor him to go undisputed at 154. But he do got some things he got to clean up if people would be honest with themselves. We watch him play bully ball. He's coming in. He's not using he used a jab the first round or two. Then he walks in with no jab. He's flat-footed. So when he gets ready to punch, he's stepping in the mud. And if the guy got any kind of lateral movement, Boots is not going to be there to land the right kind of punch. So he just got some things he got to clean up. But he's still a really, really, really talented fighter, a really, really good fighter. And I just think now he has a chance to get the champions on board so he could prove it. And like I said, I don't think he should go to 154. He should go for undisputed at 147. And I really listened to the interview. I made a short of that interview, YSM, and I really heard him. Like he said, he never got the feeling of taking a strap from a guy. And I definitely think stay there. They're ready to fight you now. Let's be honest. Shakur not fighting Kid Austin without Kid Austin last performance. Sometimes it's the performance that brings them in. So I think that performance can be a blessing because now I think they're not scared to fight him. And I think that's going to give him a shot to go undisputed or at least unify at 147 before he move up.
Hey, Rich, I hear you. I'm about to step into the gym. I just want to say this. I feel like people misconstrue. You ever notice everybody says, yeah, he said he was going to move up to 54. Thinking about something and doing something is two completely different things, right?
Yeah.
Teofimo Lopez called out Terrence Crawford. Teofimo Lopez is a lineal champion. Is that a duck? Because he didn't want to fight him?
No,
because he wasn't looking at him? But what I'm saying is we pick and choose what we want to consider ducks and what we not consider ducks. Because Canelo fans don't consider Canelo ducking Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford fans consider Canelo ducking Terrence Crawford. You see how it's just one of those things. I feel like that word is used too much. You know what's a duck? Canelo ducked David Benavidez. That's a duck.
Thank you.
That's a duck.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%, man. I agree. I've said the same exact thing. I've said the same exact thing. The only person I've really ever called a duck is Canelo Alvarez with David Benavidez. Everybody else, I think it's all about perspective. And I ain't gonna lie, I lean on Frank Martin a little bit for the Shakur Stevenson situation. I do lean on that a little bit too.
Yeah, but I can't get back because he got a bigger fight right after that.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I lean on
people,
it. I'm not all the way in on it, but if you watch some videos I did back in the day, I literally said if Frank Martin's next fight isn't bigger than Shakur Stevenson's fight, he's officially going to be a duck. That's why I said, I'm like, if he doesn't have a bigger fight, and he ended up having it, you know what I mean? But I would say if my mouth has ever said the word duck, it was in those two situations. I've been very selective with Frank Martin to be like, look, man, I'm okay with people saying he's not a duck because I get it. In the beginning, I did call him a duck, though. I did. But Canelo, I've definitely said he's a duck. He's an official duck. If we're talking about a duck, that's what I describe a duck to be. Everybody else, I don't get it. Shakur and Tank, I don't consider either one of them ducking each other. I'm sorry. I think that it's business being.
They're definitely not ducking one another.
Yeah, they're not. I don't think it is. I'm sorry. I just think it's business being handled. Money, things that are above my pay grade, but I don't think them dudes is not trying to fight each other. That's what I believe, but it is what it is.
Oh, and lastly, did Terrence Crawford duck Sebastian Fundora?
That's closer to a duck than Boots ducking Virgil, but I don't think it's a duck either.
I don't consider it a duck, but what I'm saying is when my man Rich said by the letter of the law, that would be considered a duck. You were the mandatory.
We also said we sent up Bud Crawford to 54. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's one of the fans, bro. So they're going to feel that way. Whenever you go at their fighter, they feel that way. Unfortunately, that has riddled like 3 different fan bases, man. Fury, like I said, Bud Crawford and Devin Haney. You go at their fighter, boy, they come hard at you. and they'll hit you at any way
Gervonta
possible.
Davis too.
Javante Davis too.
Well, you gotta look at it like this, man. It really ain't about. In most cases, in most cases, it's not the fighter that ducks, man. And in most cases, it's the promoter that ducks, who doesn't want to put his fighter in there. It's not always about the fighter ducking. So the promoter job is to put the fighter in the best position. So some fights for a promoter, they might consider that fight to be too risky. It ain't really about being fan. It really ain't about being just such a great fan, because I'm a fan of boxing. I break down boxing. I look at stuff on my channel. You can see technical breakdowns, not just opinions. So when I look at a certain fighters, I'm saying as a coach, you want your guy to be in the best position. You want him to be doing the best possible. If Boots went to 54 and lost to Virgil Ortiz, we just gonna go back to the Karen fight. We just gonna go back to the Avenesian fight. In football, it's called, you want to streak into the playoffs. You don't want to go into the playoffs limping.
Right.
I mean, this technical. It's the technical. It ain't. There's no fandom here. It's technical shit. Fans say just go beat them up. Just go beat them up. It don't matter how bad they look. Just go up there and beat them up. You good. You good. It don't work like that, man. It just don't work like that. We saw Crawford come off a dominant performance and have a hard time at 154. He had to get the job done. 154 is a kill zone, man. That's a kill zone. All those fighters can lose to each other, even if they take a loss. So this not about rooting for one fight or another. Just know what you're doing, know where you're going, clean some shit up. I'm assuming you want to be the best. Well, if you want to be the best, you got to clean some shit up. It's just the way it is, and that's just all just being technical.
Yes, sir.
Did Virgil look good at his last fight?
No, he didn't. But I'm not a big Virgil fan. He got dropped twice. Now, with that said, that's why some would say, well, why would he take the fight? Virgil got dropped twice by Boychuk. So that's more the reason to say, hey, we seen Virgil look vulnerable. We seen Virgil duck Crawford twice at 147. So I'm not saying that's an impossible fight, but no, as far as your legacy, I don't agree with. Go up to 154, fight Virgil, come back down to 147. No. I don't agree with that. If you're going to undisputed at 147, stay at 147. There's some good fights at 147. Conquer that ground, then move up to higher ground.
100%. Yo, we got like 39 people in the building. Shout out. We had some decent people come in the building. I think we was like over 60 at one point. But yo, the likes, if you haven't liked yet, please make sure, take your time, show some love to the channel, get the likes up. Don't be scared to throw some color in the chat as well. You know what I mean? For you guys who forgot to, if you planned on doing it. And definitely subscribe to the channel also if you haven't subscribed to the channel. I appreciate everybody in the building. But yeah, Echo, you've been quiet, man. We've been talking. Have you been enjoying the panel at all, or was there anything you wanted to contribute to the conversation? I know it can get overwhelming.
No. I'm just interested to listen. Sometimes it's just good to listen.
All right.
And listen to other people's perspectives.
Yeah, well, what you got on everybody else's perspective, though? I'm interested to hear what you think.
No, I agree with you. He should stay at 147. If he's going to go to 154, it's best to do that and stay there and mean to stay there and do what he can there. But he's got a lot of things he could still do at 147. But all this thing about ducking, like I said before, he's not ducking Ortiz. I mean, how can he duck Ortiz? Ortiz went to 154, so how could he be ducking him? He's not ducking him. But the word duck goes around so many times. I mean, over 40 years ago, they were saying Aaron Pryor, he scared Leonard not to fight. They said Leonard ducked Pryor, which was not true. So people are saying these things all the time. It's just words. I mean, I've always said, believe half what you were here and nothing, nothing, and half what you, believe half what you see and nothing you hear. Because most of the time it can't be substantiated. And it's always that, I heard this, I heard that. Unless you hear it from Boots saying, I'm definitely going to go up to 154, then it doesn't mean it. Just because he said he's thinking about it, it might be the weight, that doesn't mean anything. Every boxer has a bad weight cut at some point. You know, Tommy Hearns weighed 145 when he fought Sugar Ray Leonard in 1980.
Right.
81, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
He weighed 145. He was 6 foot, over 6 foot. And Leonard didn't, weigh, 147. He was weighing 146.
Yeah.
So a lot of boxers have bad weight cuts, So this thing about all these boxers, saying this guy ducked this guy, it's not always true. Right. But I do agree about Canelo, though. He ducked Triple G when he had the chance to fight him, when Triple G was, the man, basically. Mm. And he's definitely ducked Benavidez, for sure.
Yeah, Benavidez is one of the most blatant ducks I've seen in a long time. It's super.
But maybe he's marinating the fight, Clay. Maybe he's trying to marinate the fight.
Right? That's what I say to myself every now and then. I go,
to make more money, but I believe he could still beat Benavidez. Still,
I do too.
Oh yeah, it's not about whether or not
that doesn't mean to say that he.
It's the fact he won't fight.
Yeah, but the key to boxing a lot of times is not so much your abilities, your limiting beliefs, because your limiting beliefs will set the stage where you were there to go.
Right, mm-hmm. Mind games. Yep.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't mean that. I'm on about your limiting belief. If you've got a limiting belief where you think you believe in your potential to be great, okay, and that's a strong belief. Like I said before, if you've got the values to support that, you'll expect good results. Now, if you have a bad fight and you believe that you should have smoked that guy and you didn't, most people thought Boots would have an easier fight with Jaron than he did last time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he didn't. He got hit a lot. He was trying to jab with his feet too wide. His balance was off. He was trying to throw punches from the wrong angles. And as somebody just said, if somebody can turn the corner on him or use different angles, he's going to have more trouble. But I don't think it's a good idea for him to go to 154 yet. And if he does, he's got to make sure he's got the right strategy and he's done the right thing. Look what happened to Roy Jones. I mean, that it doesn't go well when you move up too fast and you go back down.
Yeah,
right. That was epic.
Literally yesterday, Roy said that's the biggest mistake he ever made. He said that's where he said it. He said that he said if I never did that weight cut, that crazy weight cut that made me tear all that muscle down, he said, I'm telling you, I would have still been undefeated. That's what he believes.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying to you before about this on another day about the muscle. What he did, he put on what he called myofibrillar muscle, myofibrillar, which is contractual muscle. It's not water weight or the kind of bodybuilding muscle. It's muscle that you've got to lose again. Mm-hmm. When Henry Armstrong went up from featherweight to welterweight, he didn't put on muscle. Mm-hmm. He went from featherweight to welterweight, went back down to lightweight, and won the title. He did, and he went up to middleweight at one point. Right. And he drew, by the way. But the thing is, what I'm getting at is, once you put that muscle on, once you lose that muscle, you're going to lose a lot of strength. You are. And you're gonna basically have trouble, basically hydrating again as well, because muscle is 72% water or even more, and I don't think it's fair to give Boots saying he's ducking everybody, because he's definitely not ducking Ortiz. He just wants to move up right, I think, but I think he's still got doubts in his own mind as well about that weight, because look what happened to Crawford. Crawford dared to be great again. He wanted to go for welterweight and fight Canelo, right? Which is 3 weights, by the way. Okay. Now, he had trouble with Madrimov. So it's going to be a big, big ask for him to fight Canelo, really, because he doesn't really know what it's going to be like until he gets in there. That's why this weight.
Live for it. Let's get it. I don't know what it's going to be either. It's nerve-wracking, to be honest with you. I just want to see it.
Yeah, but look what happened to Charlo. He probably thought oh, this is just going to be, a bit easier than it was. But as soon as he got hit, you could see his demeanor changing straight away.
Right.
Echo to your point, man. I seen him. Oh, go ahead. My bad. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But he took a knee, which was right to do.
Mm-hmm.
But if he didn't take a knee, he probably would have got knocked out.
Yeah, to your point with that Canelo fight, man, I seen him take one to the shoulder, and you looked on his face, man. It looked like his whole foundation was about to crumble. At that point, I thought he decided that I'm not going to engage at all, because he had opportunities to engage, and he just would not.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about punching to the shoulder, Rocky Marciano used to do that. He broke Roland Lastarzo's blood vessels in his arms. Burst the blood vessels in his arms. A lot of the old timers used to do that all the time. Now Canelo just does that a lot. I mean, look what he did to all the other guys. He's done it to everybody, really. But you hit what you can.
Yeah.
You hit the liver, you hit the spleen, you hit the solar plexus, the side forward process, you hit the heart, all the major points. You don't just hit people. You pinpoint. True power is not just about force, it's about accuracy as well. It is. And that's why you will see somebody that's got really good accuracy, like Crawford is very accurate with his shots. He is. Like Don Curry used to be very accurate as well. It is. A lot of boxers have got that accuracy. It's not just force. Because a punch in the stomach is not the same as in the solar plexus.
Not at all. Gentlemen, we are about to wrap it up, though. I'm not going to lie to you. It's about that time. It's been 3 hours and 15 minutes. I got to get ready for another show at 3:30. Supposedly, probably not going to go down to about 5, though, knowing Blue. But regardless, you know what I'm saying? I got a couple of things I need to run around and do. It was a great build, man. Once again, I love the panels. I thank you guys for respecting each other and respecting the platform and listening to each other. And I appreciate you guys being up here. Shout out to YSM for coming up here and showing some love. We got some perspective on Jaron's situation from probably the closest source possible to that camp outside of Jaron Boots Ennis and maybe Eddie Hearn. And I think, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't be shocked if YSM has a little bit more perspective than Eddie does, just because of how close a relationship he has over there. But shout out Eddie, if you see this, please feel free to hit the link any day and build with the platform. But man, great show today. We talked about a lot of things, and I think there's some things we probably didn't talk about. You guys know we've got Usyk and Tyson Fury next weekend. That's gonna be a big weekend. We got some fights. I think tonight, Roy Jones is having his event tonight on Black Prime. He's gonna be He's gonna be training, being in the corner of 5 of the fights, all 5 of the fights. He's going to have a mic on him as he's training, and while they're fighting, he's going to be commentating on the fights. That's going to be crazy to see him do that.
And Clay, before we leave, let's not forget to shout out our gifts in the chat, of course. Our contributions.
Oh yeah, I was about to do that. I'm definitely about to do that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But tonight we got Roy Jones doing his thing. Tonight I think we have Charles Conwell fighting tomorrow or Saturday. I'm sorry. Okay. Charles Conwell is fighting. We've got Jaime Munguia fighting on Saturday as well. He's fighting as well. A tune-up fight, regardless, but he's still fighting. I think there's a lot of things about to happen with Jaime next year. Edgar Berlanga, obviously, you know what I'm saying, Diego Pacheco, all these fighters that are probably going to start getting 168 bubbling next year. And of course, we got the New Year's show coming up in about 2 weeks, where we're going to build on the knockouts of the year. We're going to build on the fights of the year, the comebacks of the year, prospects of the year, all these different things that we're going to be going through. So many things to do as we going into the end of the year to go into the new year. And you guys make sure you show up, man. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed, hit your like buttons as well. Shout out to all the contributors, all the guys who showed love today and put some color in the chat, mainly Donnie D and Rich Parko putting color in the chat today, and Ray Davis giving out 5 memberships. Appreciate that.
About that.
And we're gonna be building. Well, I'm out of here until Tuesday, right? Or Monday night. Tuesday is when I'll be out of here. You know, I start my work week tomorrow. You know what I mean? So salute to everybody, man. I'll let you guys close it out. If anybody wants to say anything to close it out, if I know Too Rich, if you want to say peace or salute or whatever you want to say, Thomas Hill.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, salute to y'all, Clay, Ray, and the panel, man. And like I say, I've been listening in, man. I like listen to a good boxing talk. I've been missing you the last couple of days, man, because my work schedule or whatever, man. But I just jumped on because I caught you today. But the last thing I would say with that Boots thing, man, go back and look at the last fight Boots watched, Gary Antoine Russell. It's on YouTube. And don't you see a similar fight? And you see Boots' feet out of place. He got a lot of the same issue he had when he lost that last fight. So he just got some technical things. And that's all I got, man. Like I said, when you coming back on?
It'll be Tuesday as far as the daytime show is. If I get back in time on Monday, I'll do the nighttime show. But definitely Tuesday morning, we back at it again. I'll be on Blue Blood, obviously.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I'll catch you on that end. All right, salute, man.
Salute, man. What's good, Thomas?
Yeah, man. Shout out to Rich, man. If you guys don't got a sub to the brother channel, man. He technical and he breaks it down, man. Also, shout out to YSM. Appreciate that brother coming over here and gracing us, giving us a little insight. Shout out to my main man, Echo. Actually, I like to get in contact with you, man, and see what you're doing on Sundays, man. You lend excellent insight to the boxing game and know a lot of good boxing, man. They got a show that's catered to the old school, talk about all the old school fights that I would love for you to be a part of. Shout out to my good brother, CK Ray, all day, gifted memberships in the chat, wanted to plug himself, pat himself on the back. Shout out to Rich Parko, Donnie D. Shout out to my main man, Claymore Rain, and Ray Davis. You know it's all okay. It's all day, dog. Okay. You know it's nothing but love. Hey, shout out to the chat, man.
Thank you, Thomas. Shout out to you, brother. What's up with you, Echo?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you can give him my details, my number or whatever. We can chat on WhatsApp or whatever, or my email or whatever.
All right, I'll give it over to
you. Chat, Clay.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put it in the private chat right now. Or I'll send it over to Ray, and Ray can do it because Ray better at it. Well, I mean, I could do it too, but
yeah.
Now, I just wanted to say before I go, I'm happy just to sit here and listen because I like to learn. And sometimes people don't listen; they just hear. You're not really just hear words. Mm-hmm. I sit here and I really listen to what people say. And I think that's very important to be able to do that. So I've got no problem sitting here for half an hour listening to everybody talk. No, not a problem at all. And if I can give some insight or give some wisdom to this panel or whatever. I've done my piece. So anyway, you guys are doing a great job anyway, as always. And I'll catch you later.
Yes, sir. Salute, Echo. Thank you, man. Well, Ray, another one in the bag, brother. Did it again. What's on your mind?
Listen, I do want to still address something, but I'm not going to go long-winded on it. But I just want to actually off the coattails of what Echo just said. Sometimes it's listening. Sometimes we have rapid response or itchy trigger finger, right? Mm-hmm. We kind of respond to the things we think we hear instead of understanding everything that's going on. I just want to address, there's a small point. There's no shots taken. It was a friendly conversation, and just to make points, the PBC, and it's not a knock on them. Please understand, it's not a knock on them. They have been doing a lot of co-promotional fights. To address that question that you had earlier. When you have these co-promotions, that means that somebody else is paying their own fighter. That means that each fighter is getting paid by their promotional company and they're merging to make the bigger bag together. And then the promotional company also benefit. So to understand the thing that why can't Top Rank or Matching pay their fighters, that's not depending on the PBC or the PBC fighter to make the bread for their fighter. That's why they co-promote. Other than that, man, I really don't want to, like I said, I really don't want to say anything too crazy, but I do appreciate always being here. Sorry that I ran up here late today. It was a little awkward for me seeing freaking Flyer sitting in my seat, co-piloting and shit. I was like, what's going on? Flyer Frequency sitting here co-piloting. I had to get up here and kick him out. You see, he jumped off when I got up, right? He was like, yo, I got to go. So... But yeah, man, absolutely. Thank you, Flyer Frequency, for holding it down. I'm pretty sure Clay did a fantastic job because I actually missed a lot of it. I was dealing with some things outside of the sport of boxing personally, and absolutely glad, always glad being here, always glad interacting with you guys. You know what it is, and Thomas is always now he's an Eagles fan because I'm a Steelers fan. He always going against the grain. It's okay. Let's go Steel Curtain. We got him this weekend. You know what I mean? Let's get it popping. At the end of the day, Clay, salute. Go take care of business, and you can root for us since the Jets ain't doing too good, and you closer to them than Philly. So we'll take that.
All right, no doubt. Shout out to Fred Known Terror with some love with a $2 holler in the super chat, putting some color in here. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you, man. Every bit, a little bit helps, man. Salute to everybody. Love building here. It is what it is, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. I'll just give a quick little rundown. Thomas Hill, Fly Frequency, Exit to Red. We got some new people. Shout out to all the new subscribers who subscribed today too. Rich Parco, salute to 2 Cents who was in the building. Eric O in the building. Obviously Donnie D was here as well. You guys know who you are, man. Shout out to you guys and all the people who didn't really say nothing in the chat but was watching. We appreciate you as well, man. Thank you guys, man. But until the next episode, at this point, yeah.
Pull up a foreign, watch out the engine is roaring. It's so loud you can ignore it. Yeah. This that high life for the few. You get to have it all, no need to choose. First let me demonstrate how you can rise to the top. Yeah, I had to elevate. They hate when you elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate. They hate when you elevate. Yeah. I had to elevate.
They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight.
They hate when you elevate.